Okay, mics should be hot. And hello, I am Emerald Fishy, and today we continue the cosmic turnabout. Let's get right into it. I was in critical energy levels earlier, but I've decided to try and go all out with the caffeine, with 2 full cups of it in here. Alright, motherfuckers, let's do this. All rise. What? No. I suppose we should reconvene the trial of Solomon's something. Your Honor, could you please come out from under your bench? There are no more bombs, I promise. My apologies. It's a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. First, the courtroom exploded. Then Mr. Tornate self-destructed. Guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tornate. It seems Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tornate's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense? Do you have an understanding of the trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. Defense is ready. Although, I should give myself a bit of a review. The all-important badge. Alright, Taryn's autopsy report. Cause of death, stabbing. Victim was discovered in the 3rd floor boarding lounge in the main building. That's what we got there. Ourselves a stabby dude. Space Center diagram. Cross-section view of the main building of the Space Center and Launch Pad 1. Okay, that lounge right there is where... Actually, I can point at it. That lounge right there is, I believe, where people are saying that the dirty deed was done. Or at the very least, the dirty deed was dead. Utility knife. Had the victim's blood on it from a set of utility tools used by Space Center techs. Pretty simple, pretty simple. We got Launch Pad 1. Starbucks prints were on it. And also photo taken after the incident. Ah, okay. Only the prints of Dr. Cosmos, Starbuck, and Terran are authorized. Equipped with backup power, print recognition attempts are recorded via security cam. Starbucks prints were found on the scanner's screen after the incident. That's what we're working with. 3 people. Security camera video. Video showing the defendant and victim escape from their corridor. The video ends immediately after this scene. So, you see that, you got your glowing 50. Because of that, we surmised that the murder victim actually was helping the accused, rather than the other way around. Because of this, the victim's tank was ruptured with 0 left. Defendants had 80% remaining oxygens displayed on the left. The display on the astronaut's left shoulder shows oxygen remaining. After the incident, the victim's tank was ruptured, and the remaining oxygen was 0%. The tanks belonging to Starbuck, who claims to have carried the victim, said it was 80% full. Tanks were functioning properly at the time. Got ourselves a pamphlet with a diagram of the boarding lounge and a cross-section view of the Space Center. Got ourselves a boarding lounge that goes into Launch Pad 1 and the control room. We got ourselves, in general, like a more zoomed out, head-on view. And how the Space Museum's on the other side. Full-size replica of the Hat 1, a rocket. And important items related to space exploration. Yo, what's up, Ollie? Oh shit, not even necessarily like here in voice, so I full-size replica of the Hat 1 and important items related to space exploration in the Hat 1 expedition are on display in the Space Museum, open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day of the year, including Christmas. That's cray. Alright. Got ourselves control room door lock. The door lock to the east can only be operated by the director and the director alone. Backup power lets it function even when the power goes out. You have to fight your Jimbos soon? Shit, good luck. Watch out for a Zanmato. We got ourselves a bullet, discovered in a gutter that runs along the south wall of the boarding lounge, fired from a 10 caliber handgun, irregular. Bullet hole, single bullet hole, bullet itself is missing. I mean, unless this is the bullet that made that hole. Got ourselves a Hope capsule, found in the victim's possession, recently returned from a 7th-year mission and contains asteroid samples. You gonna watch me and sleep? Okay, fair enough. And Aura's statement. The perp held a lighter with an Earth emblem on it in their left hand and a knife in the right. Alright. We got all our people in question. Clonko, Ponko, and Aura. I think it's time to rock. Your Honor? The defense is ready.
Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? I take it you'd like me to give the opening statement this time?
Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. He's certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts.
Let's see. The previous part of this trial, we learned the victim, Clay Terran, escaped from Launchpad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. Explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and on the rocket itself. The two astronauts used the Launchpad 1 corridor to reach the boarding lounge.
And
how could the victim climb down the ladder if he was carrying the defendant? It was the mystery that was needed to be solved. Mr. Justice proved the victim was not killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Blackwell, were you able to discover any new facts?
upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Dono's argument was correct.
So that means the testimony of the first two people on the scene are suspects.
Two people who claim to be in the first of the scene. Can we truly trust their statements?
Let's see, Detective Candace, Arm, and Yuri Cosmos, right? I think one of them might have given a false statement.
Yeah, it's certainly possible. Might have to do a little more digging. Just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, a courtroom bombing incident occurred, and the trial was put on hold.
That accursed fellow. He killed my witness. Killed Detective Arm.
Definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw.
Exactly. In other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of the trial.
It's obvious Blackwell still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Fulbright said Blackwell had a thing against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense argues there was a third person in the lounge who killed the victim.
To make such reckless claims in the courtroom takes a bold man or a stupid one. There was no third person in the boarding lounge. Or have you gone dotty already? Old man.
Objection!
We'll see who's the dotard after I trounce you with my years of experience, little boy. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene.
I saw a third person?
I see my sister's been running her mouth.
That's right. Almost forgot Aura's Prosecutor Blackwell's sister.
No matter. She didn't see this mystery person's face clearly. Therefore, there's no evidence to indicate the person was not the defendant.
I guess that possibility, the figured was Mr. Starbuck is still there. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene.
Director Cosmos, huh?
Very well.
Bailiff, please bring the witness to the stand.
Why, I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers.
Yeah, of course you have. For I am Yuri Cosmos, director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was of course named after me, Yuri Cosmos. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me?
It's like he's all geared up to do some bragging.
7 years ago, I successfully launched the Hat 1 and...
Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Even I'm trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony?
Yeah! I see this fine young lad as a proper appreciation of greatness. Allow me to begin my epochal testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history.
Speech of Blackwell's just now. It sounded more to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos.
It's probably for the best it sailed right over his head.
Now then, Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please.
What I saw at the scene. Detective Arm and I rushed towards the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Terran lying on the floor. Hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck.
So your testimony claim you arrive on the scene after the True had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge, and just after the victim been killed.
Oh, the horror, the humanity. But what I said is what I saw, and what I saw is what I said. Courageous action to take in the face of such terrifying explosions. To save my men, I went personally into the epicenter of danger, risking my own life for theirs. Excuse me.
What do you know? Sounds like the director really cares about his men.
Yeah, sounds like he was just scared and had a peek from far away.
Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness?
Yes, Your Honor. Director Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. Gonna have to press him and draw more info before I do anything else.
Hold it!
Where were you coming from?
The 6th floor. We were making sure any stragglers made their way to the 4th floor. It was then we heard about Starbuck and Terran, and heard to the 3rd floor lounge. My galactic scooter here, of course.
Why do you keep calling it galactic? Does that have something to do with space?
Of course! It was specifically designed to be used on galactic battleships.
I see. Then I take it works in 0G too?
Sadly, no. With the current state of technology as it is, I'm afraid it would just float around and be galactically useless.
Well, that's a galactic bummer. I'm sorry, wait. Did he just say space age pogo?
You rushed to the boarding lounge on your space-age pogo stick.
Judge, I love it.
You got to the scene. What did you see?
Yeah. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside.
Oops.
Hold it!
Let's see. According to this diagram, you have to go through the control room to get to the boarding lounge 1. Looks like you could have gone there from the southern corridor as well.
Yes, but in her haste, Detective R rushed ahead of me towards the control room. All I could do was merely follow behind.
Let's see.
So we peeked into the boarding lounge from the control room door. Detective Arm.
Hold it!
I don't care, I'm just doing pirate. He's a space pirate. So you couldn't see who that figure was clearly or what they were doing.
Sadly, the only thing I could tell was that it was a person standing motionless.
The defendant, no doubt, staring aghast at his deed. What other explanation is there?
So close. Without evidence, I can't prove the third party.
I don't relish in this, and
Hold it!
Aura Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave the statement it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly?
no, not clearly. The lighter they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time. Other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could see Terran, but not who the other person was.
So for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck, is that correct?
I would like to believe that Starbuck isn't the type of man capable of
Objection!
murder.
When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct, Great Space Center Director?
Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Terran were there at the time. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark and the figure vanished.
You mean they disappeared?
Objection!
The reason the figure appeared to vanish is because it was the defendant. When the witness wasn't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness.
Hold it!
Hold on. Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off the scene?
Just for a brief instant, about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by.
You took your eyes off the scene. And the third person could have escaped during that time.
What escape route could this person have used?
The direction opposite the control room, the southern door of the elevators. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape.
Objection!
All things are possible, right, Stone? The real question is, do you have any proof? Well... If we're just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we like. An inmate who used to be a university professor and lunar researcher used to say that there's a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. As long as they don't punish us in the name of said moon for what we've done to it. Heyo! Sailor Moon reference. But I say, where's your proof that this quaint kingdom exists? Just calling your theory a work of fiction, boss. He's right. I don't have any proof yet. Still. Southern door was a possible escape route. I better make a mental note of that. Dr. Cosmos, can I ask you a question? Why did you look away from the boarding lounge?
There is actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that. When Detective Arm saw the figure and raised her gun, being a great humanitarian and protector of mankind, I tried to stop her.
What? You're saying Detective Arm raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure?
I imagine her instincts as a detective told her they were the killer.
I don't know about that. How were you able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun?
I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her. Identified herself calmly, and I fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure.
This information about Detective Arm's actions sounds critically important. Please add it to your testimony.
Hold it!
Warning shots.
Warning shots.
Neither of these 2 shots hit the culprit.
That is correct. The detective appears to have missed on purpose.
But did she really? There's something about this that bothers me. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. It's the first time that info's come out. If I can find any inconsistencies. so I'm not entirely sure. There's a bullet hole here. There's a bullet that was found on the other side of the room. What if there were 3 shots and the 3rd shot hit the oxygen tank? Maybe it's still in it. Single bullet hole. I'll try this.
Objection!
Nice. Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing?
You doubt my words. Words that will someday be written down in history books.
Man, must use a lotion and mustache wax in order to keep in shape like that. For real. Also, welcome in, thinking. Somehow I don't think that those exact words will ever be written down in any history books.
Mr. Wright, please explain yourself. We can all understand.
You say Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots, and yet only 1 bullet hole was ever found at the scene.
What?
Only 1 bullet hole means the gun was only fired once, and yet Director Cosmos is saying Detective Arm fired 2 shots. No editor will allow such a glaring contradiction in the history book. Unfortunately for you, the witness's words are true. We confirmed that 2 shots were fired from
Objection!
Arm's gun. There was only 1 bullet hole at the scene. Where did the other bullet hole vanish to? Ah! You should know the answer to that already. I should. During the previous trial, a certain oxygen tank was present at evidence. We've already discussed that it was ruptured in the lounge, have we not? Well, it appears the thing that ruptured it was a bullet, found near the tank to be precise. This bullet was fired from a .38 caliber gun, the same caliber as the detectives.
What?
The rifling marks also add up. There's no question the bullet was fired from Detective Arm's gun. Damn, a .38. Yo, what's up, Dev?
Sound like a gun's.
They're like a gun's fingerprint on a bullet. One of the bullets the detective fired found its way into the holographic image display. The other bullet came to a stop near the victim's oxygen tank. The evidence confirms the director's statement that the detective fired 2 shots. A beautiful contradiction. Gone. All gone. So that bullet hole was from a .38, huh? Better update the record. Nothing. Nothing's good?
Now we know the fate of both the shots Detective Arm fired. Mr. Wright, does that clear up your questions?
Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots. One hit the holographic display, and the other hit the oxygen tank. Hell no, it doesn't clear up everything. No, Your Honor, it doesn't. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots from a .38 caliber gun. That doesn't explain the existence of a certain piece of evidence found at the scene. A piece that points to the existence of a 3rd person. Oh.
Very well. Don't keep us waiting. What piece of evidence suggests it?
The other bullet that was from a tenor!
What is this metal pellet supposed to be?
Just a little something of great importance we found at the crime scene, Your Honor. You found it where? In a floor gutter at the crime scene. Looks like the police missed it. Furthermore, this is a 10 caliber bullet, making it much smaller than the one of Detective Arm's .38s.
Then that means...
Exactly. One more person must have been there in the lounge. A 3rd person who had a gun that could fire 10 caliber bullets. And if that's true, explains why Detective Arm fired warning shots. This 3rd person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Is that how it really went down, Director Cosmo?
Looks like you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us.
What's this now?
What? You never breathed a word of any of this to me before. Yeah. Well, all great men have a secret or two.
Foolish old geezer. Director Cosmo really had been hiding the presence of a third person all along. Director Cosmos, I want you to testify to the court about what you really saw.
You may be a very great man, but in my courtroom you are just another witness. You won't receive special treatment here. Now please give accurate testimony.
Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together.
In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and Terran on the floor. He was still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us.
Given there was no third person in the lounge when the witness entered it, does this mean the person who fired the gun had to have been the defendant?
Love, what did you just post, Ollie? Not necessarily. It's still possible it was someone else. Most likely, as soon as Detective Arm and Director Cosmos covered this what did it say? Discovered this person. V-Day emo? Oh, Valentine's Day emo. Cool. They escaped through the southern door, the one that didn't have a security lock.
Objection!
Double-edged swords are a tricky lot. Mishandle one, and it's you who gets cut down. Your reasoning could apply if Spaceboy were the killer as well. Think about it. After being discovered, he could have fired the 10 caliber gun. Detective Arm would have responded by firing 2 warning shots. All he had to do was feign unconsciousness to invent the possibility of a third person. But Mr. Starbuck didn't have a gun in his possession when he was found by police, nor has the gun been found at the crime scene. Its absence can only be explained if there was a third party who took it with him. Recall the existence of a trash chute in the boarding lounge. The defendant could have simply thrown the gun down the chute. But you can't deny the possibility of a third person leaving with the weapon. It's up to you to prove that possibility. And I trust you haven't forgotten my little piece of decisive evidence. Why, the detonator switch found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, naturally. The most compelling evidence of all tells us he is the culprit. I did forget all about that. Look, your baldness, how deliciously obvious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine. Sliced our third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us just like that. It's like confused bunny and that's a mood. Fair.
Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet that the mysterious figure shot, who did it hit exactly?
It hit me.
Does that mean you're a ghost?
I was wondering where you would realize it, your baldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can even pass through walls.
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman.
Your baldness, it was all in jest. Please show yourself again.
Are you sure? How did you manage to survive being shot, Dr. Cosmos?
I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, whereby it ricocheted, saving my life.
Damn. That's pretty intense.
It's unbelievable. I have to check this out. Wow. Look at that. There's one extra GYAXA star.
The odds are literally astronomical.
Guess it really was a miracle. It's beginning to really feel like the cosmos is watching out for him.
Why did you conceal this information?
A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. It's the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand.
Yeah, the 4th star.
Oh no, sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding?
Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out. Alright.
What you really saw.
Hold it!
Rushed into the control room together. We've already heard all about that part. Don't you have any new info?
Oh, well, let me see. If you had an hour or two, I could tell you all about the Hat 1 miracle.
We already know all about that too. Tell us something related to the incident.
I see. You want to know about incidents. Let me tell you about the incidents that made me the man I am today.
It was a dinky little 10 cal.
Hold it!
Told us all about that as well. What we need is your testimony.
How will I tell you all about my upbringing? I don't recall.
Dr. Cosmos, perhaps you could save your boastful tales for later.
If I must peek in through the control room.
Hold it!
But it was so dark you couldn't see this figure's face, isn't that right?
Yes, the room was as deep and dark as outer space itself. Speaking of outer space, during the Hat 1 launch 7 years ago...
If it's about that Hat 1 miracle again, you can sod off and tell it to a stray mutt.
Excellent idea. No reason why the animal world shouldn't hear of my greatness.
And so they shall. But first, your testimony. What happened next?
Hold it!
In other words, you were fired at while you were in the control room door.
That is correct.
Something not quite right about that. Dr. Cosmo, the bullet this person fired hit you, isn't that right?
Yes, it was a miracle, befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet that figure hit me while I was in the control room. As the Cosmos would have it, the bullet bounced off my glorious Medal of Honor.
In that case, the bullet should have wound up somewhere around the control room door. Okay, so Director Cosmos was in the control room to the east. While he was there, he was shot at by someone with a 10 caliber gun.
The bullet hit his metal, so he was able to escape with his life. He's a very lucky man. No wonder people think he's great.
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky myself. See, the great man. I'm the king of all cosmos. Athena, you ready to make a giant ball of bullshit? Still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. Don't let Phoenix get drunk. Indeed. He'll just Katamari everyone. So is the idea to present this?
Objection!
Dear God, don't let him get drunk. Maybe just the bullet itself.
Objection!
There it is. Director Cosmos, I believe you're telling the Great Court a glorious lie. You accidentally destroyed all the stars. Oops.
Great men like me tell a lie. Have you ever heard of such a thing in all of history?
My accusation's based on the positions of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door. The mysterious figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. Been looking up Wright vines. Oh, that probably have some shit. Yeah. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. However, we found a 10 caliber bullet here.
Oh!
The trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at?
Yeah!
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you the bullet hit his metal? Of this, there is no mistake.
Objection!
But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say you can explain this consistency? Of course. I didn't think so. What? Oh, great Director Cosmos.
Yes! Is there something you'd like to expound upon?
You were in fact not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south, is that not right?
Ah!
What are you getting at? Use your own brain. Your head must have some use other than housing that bird's nest. Bird's nest? Does everyone pick on my hair? Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found in the south. That makes some sense, actually. Also, the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. A little too well ordered to be a bird's nest. Yeah, Blackwell's theme is pretty cool. I gotta admit that. You want bird's nest? You talk to birdies? Oh dear. How about it, Director? If you don't tell the truth this time. There they go again.
Yikes! Sir, his handcuffs.
You will become but rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man.
All right, I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away. You're correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking into the room from the southern door.
What? It's the complete opposite of all the testimony he's given so far. And now you've lost your possibility that a third person was in the room. I have? How? The director and the detective were near the southern door, meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. The western door required print recognition, the corridor beyond was filled with smoke, the only escape route was the eastern control room door, and the only way to get through there was with Director Cosmos' fingerprints. In short, there would be no escape for any third person had there been one. My third person just disappeared, like in one of Trucy's magic tricks.
Order in the court! Dr. Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie?
You were covering for the defendant, isn't that right? Cut off the captain's finger and used it on the door. Not so smart, are we? No, Mr. Hot Weird Samurai Dude. For real.
It was all for the love of my men. If I said I was in the eastern control room, it would mean the culprit could have escaped through the southern door. It would have meant there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person.
Convoluted lie. Is he really covering for the defendant?
Looks like we've come to a conclusion that the defense's argument, the possibility of a third person has crumbled.
It's over. Yikes. That judge's about to hand down his verdict. Think, Phoenix, think. It's the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. The third person had no way of escaping the scene. What if one of the people at the scene was the third person? Can't let you brew that, Starbucks.
I like that. I like that one. The whole premise is all wrong. Director Cosmos said he and Detective Arm rushed to the scene together. What if that premise isn't true? If one of them reached the scene before the other one? What? Really? Really, Maddie? Oh, shit. That's awesome. That person entered the lounge, and they would be the third person.
Defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot the director.
Ollie, that's a sick guitar.
There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict.
Objection!
Please wait, Your Honor. There's still one possibility.
Oh, this had better be good, Mr. Wright.
There's one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene. And that person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using an escape route accessible only to them.
Say more about this theory.
Oh, that's super easy. That is eggs over easy.
What? That's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here?
Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room door, after all.
But that means...
Exactly. True identity of the third person is our current witness, Director Yuri Cosmos.
Gah!
What?
Order! Order in the court, I say! Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail.
I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm, and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that, and saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's when she fired those 2 warning shots.
Gah! I've been hit! I've been hit on the starboard side!
Can't let you through that, Starbucks. That's awesome. Captain Wright, it's a direct hit on the enemy ship, sir. Magnificent shot.
Warning shots fired from the enemy ship. Prepare to intercept. Cosmos, you told a lie in this court once again. I've been hit! I've been hit on the port side! The enemy's called in reinforcements.
To Cosmos Control Center, requesting permission to ask you return to reality. It's a hit! It's a hit!
My ship will not go down to anything less than the ultimate weapon of evidence.
Objection!
B4! Do have evidence. This game of courtroom battleship is weird. You could say that your battleship bears its scar. Director Cosmos is the third person, or a Blackwell saw. Cosmos must have been the one that fired the 10 cal. Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge. It only makes sense he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, evidence on that director's body has different relevance than before. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark you've received from that third party will be all the proof we need to prove you were the one there in the lounge.
Brace for further impact.
Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove you were the one in the lounge.
Take that!
The .38 caliber bullet found on the floor of the scene didn't hit the oxygen tank, it hit Director Cosmos' metal. If we have that ricochet mark on the metal analyzed, I'm sure the caliber will match up. And if that mark proves to be from a .38 cal bullet, it will prove you're the third person we've been looking for.
Gah! The bridge is destroyed. Losing altitude. All hands abandon ship.
That's true. What about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank?
It was the 10 cal bullet. In other words, it was the bullet fired by Yuri Cosmos and that Wright director.
No! You got it all wrong. What? The engines have started again. It's a miracle. I'm not going down yet.
Witness, stop this at once and confess the truth.
You don't want the history books to say that a great man was a great liar. Accept your fate and tell the truth.
Alright, give me orders. Me, the great director of Cosmos Space Station. Cosmos revolves around me!
You spin me right round, baby, right round. On your record, baby, I ain't round, round, round.
Order in the court. Will someone please stop the witness from spitting? Thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth.
While he was twirling, I took the liberty of running an analysis on the mark of the metal. It was made by a 38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of Detective Arm's firearm.
Yeah!
You ready to confess the truth, witness?
No, you got it all wrong. This is just a misunderstanding.
Is he gonna start piling on more lies? Looks like it. No matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them one by one. I'll make that big liar tell the truth. Aw yeah, to be continued. Let's keep it rolling. Keep it going. Keep it going. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going.
Director Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. They're claiming you were this third person.
Forgive me. I'm so sorry.
So the great pioneer of space development is revealed to just be another fabulous cur. I only have one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly?
Yeah!
The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try and talk your way out of this.
Fine, I'll tell the truth. It was all just as you say, Mr. Wright. It was true I was there in the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Arm, and when she arrived, she fired warning shots. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped to the control room.
Man just needs a little space. Ooh, I think we got one.
I then went past the elevator and all the way around the boarding lounge, one again.
In space, no one can hear you lie.
Came up behind Detective Arm. Detective Arm! And pretended to be the second on the scene.
What a troublesome old man you are, with such convoluted deeds and thoughts.
I see, so then? You still insisting you did not kill the victim?
Of course I am. When I arrived at the lounge, I saw the true killer. The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness.
Hold it! Now hold on just a moment. We just proved a few minutes ago the third person Mr. Starbuck and Miss Aura Blackwell saw was you.
No, it wasn't me. I saw the person as well. If I were the killer, why would I lie to Conqueror Starbuck? I would just leave him to take the fall.
He's an excellent point. I don't think he's telling the truth in that regard, but... There we go. Well, makes some sense if he told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck. Still, a lie's a lie, Athena. This Director Cosmos claims he's not the culprit, but where's the proof?
Yeah, I just remembered. I have an alibi. Miss Blackwell said that she saw the killer at 10 a.m.
Yes,
that.
Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. Ask any member of the staff you like. They'll cooperate with me.
The director is not fibbing to the court for once. I confirm he has an alibi for the time specified. So, claiming Miss Blackwell saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m. And that you arrived in the lounge after that.
Yes, and I believe the person I saw was some same person Miss Blackwell saw. Although it was pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure and less of a person. I couldn't actually see their face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an earthling. An earthling.
As long as he has an alibi, can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer. No, it can't. And again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw.
Yeah, I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, do the fandango. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. I had hid to avoid getting shot, but when I tried to get another look, they vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door. Launchpad 1 door. Control room should have been shut tight to the killer.
So you were shot at by the killer as well, and then they disappeared?
Yes, though luckily no harm came to my glorious body.
Doesn't seem like solid testimony. Not really, huh?
Unfortunately, the bullet hit Terran's oxygen tank. I know because I heard a bang! That must have been the sound of a tank being ruptured.
Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal. That was Detective Arm's bullet, remember? Right. What a mess this is turning into. Let's see. Dr. Cosmos claiming that when we found Mr. Terran and his killer... Such a blaze! The culprit shot a 10 caliber bullet at him. Right, but it actually hit Mr. Terran's oxygen tank and ruptured it. And then the killer disappeared after the director went into the boarding lounge. And Detective Arm caught up and fired those warning shots at him. Judging by his metal, it looks like one of them almost took him out, too. Good summary. It doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. Director Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figure disappeared.
I'm ashamed to admit I tried to hide myself when I was shot at, but when I peeped into the back in the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate, but what I found was Terran with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor.
So we have a culprit vanishing from a scene with no escape route.
Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos.
A riddle of the ages, indeed. But I'd rather know how a fibbing leech such as you can be lauded as great.
A great man is always misunderstood in his life, but he must remain true to himself even if those around him don't understand.
Might be the first true statement he's said all day. How do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly? Simple, because if it was Spaceboy himself, when he was spotted by the director and Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter-evidence. Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor?
No, it was as dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room.
That wasn't exactly helpful. I'm prepared to accept your surrender, Wright, Dono. I can't find any holes in this testimony. I can't give up. Mr. Wright, why don't you let me help? While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord. Which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? More like Wright Dono. More like Wright. Oh no. Just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great, Athena. Let's see what you can do with him.
You got it, boss. I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind. Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over the secrets of your heart to me.
That sounded weirdly... That sounded something. Trying to get to the lounge. Shoot killers. I fired a gun. I hid to avoid getting shot. When I tried to get another look, they vanished into thin air. It's near the elevator side door. The launch pad. One door. Control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. It's fair. But also, to be fair thinking, this is not a therapist setting. This is a courtroom setting. I'm sure she'd go easy on you in an actual therapy session that wasn't in a courtroom. Is it the sadness?
Got it!
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the launchpad door.
Yuri Cosmos, afraid? And what basis do you have for such an outlandish accusation?
Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it.
I'm most certainly not.
Director Cosmos, there's something about the launchpad door you're not telling us, isn't there?
Nah!
Wow, he's speechless. Looks like you hit the nail on the head, boss. It's working, boss. One more punch and it'll be a knockout. Seems to be one more emotion at odds with his testimony. Go get him.
Back in the Matrix it is. Is there a reason here that there's a lack of surprise?
Got it!
Gotcha. You must have thought it was very strange the killer vanished into thin air.
I did. That kind of thing just doesn't happen usually.
And yet, at the time, you barely registered any shock at the occurrence.
What? Why are you...
I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea of where they went. Isn't that right?
What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. Only I can enter the control room. And the area beyond this launch pad door was filled with smoke, making it impossible. As for the southern door... I was standing right there. So there was nowhere for the killer to run to.
Maybe, or maybe not. You went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Terran, yes? What if the culprit took that opportunity to slip out through the southern door?
I highly doubt it, right after I entered the lounge. Detective Arm came rushing towards it herself via the southern hallway. Anyone trying to escape would have been caught by her.
And yet the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure...
I'll just input those two pieces of data and... Yes, just what I wanted to see. Presto changeo, that's Discord. Looks like we're on the right track.
Thanks, Athena. Now that makes sense of what we learned. Cosmos wasn't surprised the culprit suddenly vanished, which points to the possibility he knew where the killer escaped to. Furthermore, talking about the door to the launch pad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably
probably hiding something about the launch pad one door. Put these two pieces together, only one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. Director Cosmos, did the real killer escape through here?
Take that!
Culprit went through the launch pad 1 door to escape, didn't they? Yes. Unless Windows Live Messenger rises again.
I mean, no! Disaster to starboard! We're gonna crash into an asteroid!
Master Tactician, you are not.
The area beyond the door was filled with smoke, wasn't it?
True, but still, this is the only logical answer there is. If we can just figure out what the director's hiding about the launch pad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical inconsistencies.
The door requires fingerprint recognition. Starbuck, Terran, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could open that security lock, do you?
That's an easy one. Killer was right there in the boarding lounge, meaning there's a way he could have easily gotten past the security lock. Come to think of it, he did examine the prints in the fingerprint recognition device. I propose the killer used this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock.
Take that!
That's...
Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gotten past the security lock using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found on the device's screen.
Yeah!
I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough info to see the whole picture.
Something occurred to me. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah, by all means.
There's a security camera in boarding lounge 1.
Right, the one that recorded the victim and the defendant. What about it, Your Honor?
This true culprit escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor. That might have recorded security footage as well. Then the mystery would be solved. What would you think of my logic?
I hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, Your Baldness.
I beg your pardon.
Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point...
Oh my! The footage cuts off.
The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged. Most likely the after effects of the explosion. There's no footage after this, be it of criminals or space aliens.
I thought it was such a good idea too.
Please get off the bench and onto a boat in retirement in Florida. Why Florida, of all places? Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery, it doesn't mean you should try to show off too much, Grandpa Baldness.
Prosecutor Black Crow, how'd you know about my grandchild?
I think his grandchild just learned a little about the harshness of the adult world.
Setting aside the issue of grandchildren, I'd like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge?
If I must.
Send him up to visit his Canadian brother.
Yo, grandchildren noise!
What do you think about Director Cosmos' emotional response, Athena?
Actually, my cat's really sick, you know.
What? Oh, very sorry to hear that.
On top of that, my dog just doesn't seem to want to play with me.
Why are you telling me all this now?
Just humor me, okay? Now, when you heard about my cat, and then about my dog, which story made you feel sadder?
The story about your cat, of course. It's only natural.
Exactly. That'd be the natural reaction. But there's nothing natural about the director's reactions. The how each individual reaction changes across the whole testimony would be key.
Sounds unnaturally complicated. It somehow doesn't surprise me. Is the idea that he should have been relieved?
Got it!
Now I feel like a monster. Don't worry about it. Statement 2 fear you might be thinking?
Got it!
Maybe this is...
Got it! Got it!
Maybe you should be more surprised?
Got it!
Director Cosmos, why are you so surprised when Detective Arm found you and again when she fought? Isn't that a bit unnatural?
Sadly, even great men such as myself have ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experiences surprise on occasion.
Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point isn't the fact that you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by.
Pardon me.
First, you were surprised when Detective Arm found you in the lounge. And just after that, you were of course again surprised when she shot you. But considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about the surprise reaction is the fact that you were more surprised when Arm came. Sure, you were surprised when Detective Arm shot at you, but the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater.
Ah!
The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than by being shot at suggests to me you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there.
The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence Operation Hide Under Desk. Yeah!
Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship!
Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that launch pad door.
Whatever he's hiding most likely has something to do with the killer's escape.
I wonder what it could be.
If he was doing something suspicious around the door, maybe we can spot some change between before he came to the room and after.
Detective Fulbright gave us a photo after the crime. Let's run a comparison.
It's the knob! 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 Knob, 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 knob. Director Cosmos. One does not simply walk into the launch door.
Finding the answer to what you were doing when Detective Arm found you, that's what. The answer lies clearly in the footage. All I have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation.
Yeah, don't be ridiculous. If you really have an answer, you'd have pointed it out.
Wasn't asking for it. This is what changed.
Take that!
The answer's this knob.
Nah! That's...
Your Honor, please take a look at this footage.
Let's see.
Take a look at the knob next to the launch pad. As you can see, it's horizontal.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical.
What does that mean?
It means sometime between before the director arrived and after, someone turned this knob. After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos. Let's hear what you have to say. What were you trying to do by turning that knob?
Nah! Fine, I admit it. You're right. I did turn that knob. It's a safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid there would be more explosions, so I wanted to move the launch pad away.
You wanted to do what? Hey, didn't Ponko tell us something about how they prepare for launch? She said once the launch pad's fully assembled, let's move to the launch site. The safety lock in the boarding lounge had to be disengaged first.
Guess that clears up what the knob's for.
So if the killer escaped in the launch pad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the launch pad to the launch site.
I don't think so. Launch pad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor.
So then where did the killer escape to?
I guess there are still some things we have to uncover. Director Cosmos, I request you tell us about moving the launch pad in more detail.
Fine. But listen carefully, for I'm about to give history-making testimony. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock.
Ooh, hello, happiness.
Feared there might be more explosions. I had to cut the launch pad loose. It's launch pad 1. That area was a sea of smoke. Confound it, where on earth could have they gone?
Why are you happy about that?
Got it!
I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so, and yet when you did it, you felt some joy as if you were very pleased with yourself.
Ah! How do you do it? How do you know everything as if you were there?
Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of analytical psychology.
Care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we've discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda.
Yeah! How do you know about that too?
Because I'm more or less a pro at guessing.
You have no proof I had a hidden agenda. And if I did, I would never ever tell you, so there!
I know they say people regress as they grow older, but sir, you take the cake.
And how could you doubt a man with such great intensity, intelligence, and integrity?
You, a man of integrity, don't make me laugh. Prosecutor Blackwell, came over him all of a sudden. You've spouted nothing but falsities since you stepped up to this stand. You're not the kind of man that would be glorified in the annals of history. Not for greatness, anyways. Unless you consider great as barefaced liar and honor. His words bite harder than his blade. You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosions? How naive you are. You fail to realize how even the facts themselves have betrayed you. You know, just a thought that modern English can be your friend. And here's a thought for you, immediately following the bombing. Launchpad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on the scene. Dressed up as harp Valerie, my friend said it was too small to be a harp. Are you calling me a li-
Launchpad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on the scene.
What? So that means the director didn't move the launch pad?
Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him to indulge in all his lies and war games to his heart's content.
Objection!
But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny someone turned the knob. Once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have went somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we just might find where the killer escaped to. Ah! For sure, it must have went somewhere. We just might find out. Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing, and wishful thinking. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Or are you not man enough to, boy? Ugh!
Talk about hitting below the belt.
Youngins these days. I guess my boy Blackwell's only 28, and Phoenix is in his 30s, I think. I guess so. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. It was definitely turned after he came to the lounge. The launch pad's right where it's supposed to be. Ah! Maybe I have it all backwards. What if the director turned the knob not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back to where it was supposed to be? What are you blathering about? What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident, and then after the incident, Director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot? All he had to do was turn the knob to call the launch pad back, and it would be right where the police found it.
Made him sigh like Mr. Starbuck.
So I said really that off base? It pains me to have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you, however. Our greatest liar turned the knob only after he discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pad existed beyond the lounge where our Astro Wanderers made their escape. A fact that has been recorded for posterity on filmless film. Right. Chico the Parakeet, does Mr. Starbuck coffee?
Does Mr. Starbuck coffee? Yes!
Mr. Starbuck does coffee. I do coffee too. Yo, what up, Chico? To reiterate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is, boy. Can confirm, is a human being.
Get a grip, Mr. Wright. Focus. Launchpad must have been moved.
Just wanted to make a bad joke. Fair enough.
I respect that.
But our deductions and the actual facts of the case are in direct contradiction to each other.
Maybe the two astronauts never actually boarded the rocket. This footage could be fake, taken with body doubles after the incident or something.
On second thought, that's too far-fetched even for me. Never actually boarded the rocket. Wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe.
Huh?
Prosecutor Blackwell, what if I told you those two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad area, but instead went to another place? And what if the director moved launch pad 1 back? What if when the director moved launch pad 1 back, it was not from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then? Cut the existential bull, or I'll cut you.
You will explain yourself at once.
I know. It's all the other way around from the beginning. Very well, Your Honor. Let me explain. Dr. Cosmos' reason for moving Launchpad 1 was... because he wanted to switch it with some other place.
I'm sorry? Did you say switch it? What could you possibly have switched the launch pad with?
Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box and the answer becomes clear as day. This is what was switched with Launchpad 1.
Take that!
Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum?
In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. Had all the same features as Launchpad 1 and can even be moved from the launch site, meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other.
You can't be.
The rocket the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in the Space Museum.
What? Balderdash!
And yet, it's the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. This is how the Space Center was just before the incident.
See, Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum have already switched places.
That's right. And with the two switched like this, the astronauts entered the Space Museum from boarding lounge 1. This allowed the true killer to enter Launchpad 1 from boarding lounge 2 and set the bomb on the rocket.
Come to think of it, the door of the Space Museum from boarding lounge 2. Welcome, welcome. The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Exactly. Anyone could pass through the door of the Space Museum. There's no fingerprint recognition system on that door. In other words, with the two launch pads switched like that, someone other than Mr. Starbuck could have easily planted the bomb. Gah! After setting the bomb on the rocket, the culprit snuck into boarding lounge 1 and waited there, concealed. In order to kill Mr. Terran, the two astronauts emerged from the Space Museum. Recall that Miss Blackwell, Mr. Starbuck, and the director all saw a suspicious figure, who, we can suppose after killing Mr. Terran, made their escapes into the Space Museum. After that, Director Cosmos switched the two launch pads back without realizing the killer was inside the Space Museum. The killer then left the Space Museum and made a clean getaway. Right. I see you know how to handle a sword and handle it well. Perhaps I should call you Sword Master Bluff. A seasoned warrior who's cut down many a fight here. But unless you can prove your theory, it's no better than a rusty sword.
Sword, you have no proof. I switched the launch pads.
Somebody needs a better anger management counselor.
The launch pads really were switched. There might be a record of it somewhere.
At this point, Launchpad 1 and the Space Museum were switched with each other.
So the corridor beyond the door should be the one that belongs to the Space Museum.
This is an image of Launchpad 1 corridor.
Do you see anything different when we compare it to the security footage?
That number on the floor. Well, what do you know? Looks like we have proof after all, Prosecutor Blackwell.
And this is just another bluff?
Oh, don't worry. It's all right here. Right in this footage. Proof that beyond this door is the corridor to the Space Museum. Damn, I see the two! Right. I like it right there. There's a 1 on the floor of Launchpad 1 corridor. But taking a look at the floor in this corridor of the security footage. Do you see the number on the floor behind the astronaut? Doesn't look like a 1, does it? That's because what you actually see is part of a 2.
What?
Why is it a 2 and not a 1? That's because the corridor you see is the one in the Space Museum.
Gah! Yeah.
And so that means the corridor in this footage was not filled with smoke.
That's right, because the explosion didn't occur in the Space Museum. The explosion occurred in Launchpad 1 on the side opposite the Space Museum. Now that we know the two astronauts escaped from the Space Museum, the mystery from the previous trial of how they got down the ladder is cleared up. Mr. Terran, carrying Mr. Starbuck, simply took the elevator from the upper level down to the middle level.
Incredible. 2 launch pads were actually switched. You'd think someone would have noticed on the event of this magnitude.
Everyone was down in the basement shelter when the launch pads were swapped back. There's no way anyone could have known what was happening on the surface. There it is. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, whoops.
Bye-bye.
No more lies, Director Cosmos. It's high time you told us the truth.
Gah! My honor, my glory, everything's slipping away. Time to deploy the ultimate weapon. Electric engine, ignition! It's gone haywire! No! It won't stop! Yeah! My stars! My glory!
Whoa, whoa. Oh! There goes the door! Door damage. Undoubtedly skid marks in the courtroom floor. Bailiff, on your stand after the witness. Oh, thanks, Chico. I will make it illegal.
So you managed to retrieve you before you came to any bodily harm?
Director Cosmos, do you admit you switched the launch pads?
I admit it's true. I switched the launch pad 1 for the Space Museum.
It's good to hear words I can believe for a change.
Before you do, Your Honor, two things. First, we don't know if Mr. Terran had prior knowledge of the switch. As for Mr. Starbuck, he was unaware of his surroundings thanks to his medication. Either way, Mr. Terran would have realized the instant he stepped into the Space Museum that it had been switched with the Launchpad 1. So my first question is, the Space Museum was perfectly fine. Why did Mr. Terran feel the need to put on such a dramatic display? As for my second question, I'd like Director Cosmos to tell us why he switched the two launch pads to begin with.
Please, I can't. I exercise my right to remain silent. But I will say, my hands were tied. I was only doing what I could to keep my men from getting caught in that blast.
The director is terrified. He must have one heck of a reason for not wanting to explain why.
His hands were tied? You trying to say there's like tides in space?
Excuse me. Would you mind if I picked up my stars?
Tide pods? He's captain in tides. We've been making shit puns this whole time. I'll accept it. It's a stretch, though.
Without my badge of rank, I'm nothing.
I don't see why not. Bailiff helped the director retrieve his stars.
Yar.
It appears the possibility of a culprit other than defendant has presented itself. Mr. Starbuck, is there anything you wish to say?
Moons cause tides. I don't get it.
Don't get it? What don't you get?
Director, why did you do all that? From the very beginning, you never meant for the watch to go ahead, did you? You tricked us! Mr. Starbuck.
Starbuck, my boy. I'm sorry. I can't tell you the reason why, but I had to do it to protect the Space Center.
Director! Will I ever get the chance to go into space again? See, I'm not dumb. It's fine. You just didn't think of it.
Yes, of course. I won't rest until it happens. I will get you into space again, my boy.
Don't worry about it. The dream is still alive.
Silence!
You're not going into space, Starbuck, but in prison. I won't have it any other way.
Why are you so hung up on it?
Yes, I accept the launch pads really were switched, and if there was a third person at the scene, I suppose they could have escaped. But I have yet to see proof of this third person's escape via the Space Museum.
Oh, that's a good point.
He's right.
Starbuck, you will spill everything you know.
Me?
Where did you get those bombs? Tell me now. If you don't, my blade shall feast on your blood.
If I'm gonna die, I wanna die in space!
Do something.
Solomon Starbuck, prepare yourself.
No. You know violence isn't the answer, Prosecutor Blackwell.
Knowingly cheerful laugh can be none other than
Champion of righteousness, Bobby Fulbright, here, in justice we trust. Detective Fulbright! Sorry to keep you waiting, Mr. Lawyer. I hope I'm not too late.
I don't believe we had an appointment.
I tried to hurry, but I ended up helping a little old lady across the streets. And then I had to break up a cat fight. I tell you, justice sure is a full-time job. Is it a fight between cats? Or... Why are you here again? Because the defendant isn't the culprit, and I came to make sure that justice is served. I don't have any idea what you're talking about. Fulbright. I always thought you were a bit touched in the head. But have you finally succumbed? Nope! But it looks like you've succumbed to this phantom of yours. Open your eyes and let the evidence of justice uncloud your mind! What evidence?
Come to think of it, he did say something about finding some evidence.
Thanks, you two. I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get that off my chest. I'm going to work extra hard to find that perfect piece of evidence for you.
I didn't think he was serious, though.
So what is it, Detective? Something that will prove Mr. Starbuck innocent? It is indeed! Have a look at this!
What's this? A lighter?
That's right! A lighter thought to have been used by the culprit, no less. Space Museum's cleaning robot picked it up. It has the victim Clay Terran's blood, along with his killer's fingerprints on it! What?! Gah! Rubble.
Order! Detective Fulbright, can I assume the fingerprints don't belong to the defendant?
You bet! Mr. Starbuck is totally innocent!
That's it. It's just what I needed.
Your Honor, there's decisive evidence that supports the defense's earlier claim.
Explain yourself, Mr. Wright.
With pleasure, Your Honor. Recall where this lighter was found. Based on that, we can extrapolate that after the killer murdered Mr. Terran, they escaped with the lighter in hand in the Space Museum, where they dropped it. The switching of the two launch pads occurred. Like so. Then finally, the killer left through Boarding Lounge 2 and made their escape. Meanwhile, Mr. Starbuck was found in Boarding Lounge 1 after the murder, a fact that Director Cosmos has testified to. Therefore, Mr. Starbuck couldn't have possibly been the one to drop the lighter there.
Silence!
But the defendant had free reign of the area until Director Cosmos appeared. Could he not have dropped the lighter in the Space Museum during that span of time? You'd like that to be true, wouldn't you? Director Cosmos testified that right after he saw the mysterious figure with a lighter, he went into the lounge and found the unconscious Mr. Starbuck. In other words, Mr. Starbuck wouldn't have had time to double back to the museum. No, Prosecutor Blackwell, this lighter could have only been dropped by the real killer. Most importantly, Mr. Starbuck's fingerprints were nowhere to be found on the lighter. I think you understand what this means, don't you? This piece of evidence unequivocally proves that Mr. Starbuck wasn't the culprit.
This is indeed appear to be decisive evidence that proves the defense's claim.
As for the remote switch found in Mr. Starbuck's pocket, we can assume it was planted by the killer on the unconscious Mr. Starbuck.
No, there must be some mistake.
Frankly, Prosecutor Blackwell, I've been worried about you. You've been chasing this phantom for 7 whole years. I understand your urgency because tomorrow...
Silence!
Fool Wright, you promised never to speak of that.
Tomorrow? What about tomorrow?
Given the body of evidence, I think it's safe to say the defendant is innocent. In light of the fact it was impossible for him to have committed the crime. A few unanswered questions remain, so I look forward to seeing what you two uncover. But for now, this court finds the defendant Solomon Starbuck
Not guilty! Hey, 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 hey. Shower, shower, confetti, 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 confetti. Tomorrow's his birthday, not Christmas.
You did it, Mr. Wright.
Looks like we pulled off somehow. Also, hey, Dark Alien. Mr. Wright, Miss Sykes, thank you. And please thank Apollo for me, too. You are all the best.
Wish we could tell Apollo about Mr. Starbuck's verdict right now.
Yeah, me too. That's gonna have to wait. Night's been going pretty good. We've made some progress.
I'd like to bring today's trial to a close. Court is adjourned.
Objection!
Alright. It's too late to object, isn't it?
It simply isn't possible. Something's wrong.
Prosecutor Blackwell, are you dissatisfied with the verdict?
Fool Wright, what were the results of the fingerprint analysis for the lighter?
The results?
Ah,
Well, I was in a hurry, you see, and there was that catfight, and, well... I kinda got carried away when I heard the prints weren't Mr. Starbuck, so...
You have yet to read it.
Prosecutor Blackwell, can you read out who the prints belong to?
Upon thorough analysis, the fingerprints were found to be Athena Sykes's. So says the report.
What?!
order in the court! Miss Sykes, tell me you have an explanation for this. You just finished proving this lighter could only belong to the killer. Finding your prints on it can only lead us to one grave conclusion.
I don't know how they got there, but I know I'm not the culprit.
When? How? This can't be happening.
We take our argument piece by piece. I don't think our reasoning was faulty. How could it have led to this?
What have I done? Please forgive me. I'm sorry. Order! Order! Detective Fulbright, stop your crying!
What the world is happening here? It's like the world's gone mad.
Order! Order! I will have order!
Holy shit, you will not have order. The biggest, the rabbliest of rabbles. Confusion spiraled into utter chaos. After all we'd fought for, the truth had turned cruelly on us to accuse Athena of the crimes. Athena Psych! Oh, that's really good! That's really solid. Somewhere, somehow, everything had gone terribly wrong. Stumbled into someone say Psych. Now I need to watch Psych again. Oh, Jesus. Stumbled over the edge of reason in the jaws of a twisted darkness. Holy shit. What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck, though? Oh my god. We ain't done. The turnabout for tomorrow. It will not be for tomorrow because it's only 11:41 and I can still keep going. So let's rock it today. Rocket. I didn't mean to do that. I never watched Psych. No one can escape their past. The sins we've committed, the sadness we've caused. No matter how far we run, our past remains, as ever present as the moon in the sky. It looms in wait for the day when we're forced to face it. But only in doing so can we truly make peace and move on and hope towards tomorrow. I don't know if he knows that thinking. December 20th, 1:23 p.m. Wright Anything Agency. They took Athena from the courtroom straight to the station. She's probably being questioned at this very moment. Back in 2013. Whew, that was a hot minute. Now we're gonna call it here. Alright, thinking. Have a good night. After this past year, I took it for granted those two would always be here. But now Apollo's gone off on his own to seek his own truth. It's almost Christmas, which means it wasn't Christmas yet. My pursuit of the truth only ended up with Athena becoming the new suspect. Some boss I turned out to be.
It's even quieter in here than usual.
Yeah, seems so empty too.
I just don't get it, Daddy. All of your reasoning during the trial seemed perfectly solid.
Yeah, I still believe it was. At least based on what we know.
But now Athena's the one who's being accused.
During the trial for the bombing and murder that occurred at the Cosmos Space Center, the lighter used by the real culprit was found. This lighter proved the defendant Solomon Starbuck innocent. But Athena's prints were found on it instead. And she was subsequently arrested for the murder.
But Athena couldn't have done it. It just doesn't make any sense.
None of it does. Been racking my brain, but I just can't figure it out. Where's the flaw? What have I got wrong in this case?
You know, Daddy, if Athena were here, she wouldn't just be sitting around thinking. She'd be out there doing something. You are going to defend Athena, right, Daddy?
Of course I will. And thanks, Trucy. I needed that push. She's right. Trial's tomorrow. There's no time to waste. If I'm gonna prove Athena's innocence. I better get out there and find some evidence.
Off we go then. We're on a hunt for evidence that'll prove Athena's innocence.
Great. Before we go, I better tidy up the evidence I have on hand. Athena's probably still in the middle of being questioned. So Trucy's right. The thing to start with is talking to people at the space station. Let's fucking go. Whoops. Misclicked. My bad. December 20th. Cosmos Space Center. Entrance. Director Cosmos, do you have a minute?
Yark. Galactic scooter, full speed ahead.
Director? He scooted away.
His expression changed the instant he saw you, Daddy.
Yeah, well, I dragged his name through the mud and pretty good at that trial earlier. December 20th, Cosmos Space Center. Boarding Lounge. Boarding Lounge. Here only yesterday. Oh, hey. Mr. Starbuck, you've been released, huh? Yep, and I came straight here. This is all thanks to you and your team, Mr. Wright. Giving me a second chance to fly into space again. Can't thank you enough. Except... What's wrong? Thought I'd be happy to be acquitted. As I was coming out of the detention center, I saw Miss Sykes. He saw Athena. I was at a loss for words. I didn't know what to say to the poor girl. Then, you know what? She flashed a peace sign at me. Congratulations on your acquittal, she said. Now you can go back into space someday. Yeah, sounds like Athena. I could just picture it. But I saw her eyes. They were red and swollen from crying. She's gotta be suffering. She must be worried. If she went out of her way to be nice and give me that big smile.
She held back her own tears so she could give someone else a smile. That's so Athena.
There's no question about it. That girl's innocent. Please, Mr. Wright, you have to make sure she goes free. And then they can put me in prison instead. I don't mind. Can't have that either, Mr. Starbuck. Don't worry, Mr. Starbuck. I'm gonna give her the very best defense that I have. Ah, shit. It's justice for all over again. I promise to get her acquitted, just like I did for you. I know she'll be alright with you in her corner. I know you'll never give up on her. Apollo has a fine boss to look up to. We do have questions, though. I still can't believe Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. What could have made Director Cosmos do such a thing? I haven't the foggiest idea. There never was going to be a launch that day. Not from the very beginning. Call Regina has got to be the very best defense. Yeah. Wonder if Clay knew. I imagine he must have. Surely he would have noticed when you went to board the rocket. It's pathetic to think I was the only one who got taken in. I guess that's about how it goes when you're worth less than space debris.
Is he gonna be alright, Daddy? His expression looks as dark as black hole.
Well, that's just how he is. The Moida one. Mr. Starbuck, do you remember anything about the murderer? Not really. I only saw a shadowy figure in the dark after all. I guess that was a little too much to know for. Hey, I heard something from the police, though. They said they never did find a 10 caliber gun down that trash chute. Just as I thought. The culprit must have carried it away with them when they escaped. Excuse me. Excuse me.
So is this person you saw holding a gun, Mr. Starbuck?
I couldn't really tell. But it wasn't Athena, right? Could you tell if the person was male or female, tall or short? I can't even tell you that much. Man, I'm useless. When the culprit opened the door and some light came in, I should have been able to see the door. Ah, yeah. As I recall, they opened this door here as they made their escape.
The door to Launchpad 1, right?
Yeah, except right now, the door leads to the Space Museum. You mean the Launchpad and the Space Museum are switched right now? Yeah, trying to investigate the theory you came up with in court. So they're recreating the conditions, huh? I'd like to see what's beyond that door now. Mr. Starbuck, could you open this door for us? Sure, just let me have my print scanned here. Whee! Did the launch pads get switched back and forth a lot? Well, back when the Space Museum was Launchpad 2, they used to switch the pads around at times. But these days, Launchpad 2 is only used as a tourist attraction, right? Right. Because, quite frankly, the Space Center needs the money. I hear you. Times sure are tough.
Daddy, let's go check out what's beyond that door.
Sure, let's go. Hey, why don't I come along? I can show you around.
Cool. We rockin' a new party member. Hey, what's that? Who's up there? What's that? What these dead leaves are doing here?
Maybe they were stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoe. There are lots of trees around the space station.
His haircut's the tip of the spaceship. 7.
Is that what that is? Oh my god! I didn't know! I thought it was just a weird hairstyle. That's funny. It's a modern state-of-the-art building, but it's surrounded by trees. I don't know, if they were stuck to the bottom of somebody's shoes, would they look more crushed up? These don't look like they've been stepped on.
Maybe there's some kind of secret hatch in the corridor, and they came in that way.
Not everything's set up like a magician's stage, you know. That's why he tries flying when you freak. Oh my god, you're super right. That's silly. Another one of those devices for opening the door, huh? Yep, this one doesn't require fingerprint verification. You just hit the button and open sesame.
So when you and Clay went through here, you didn't need to show your prints either?
That's right, Trucy. Just like how the culprit didn't need to scan their prints when they escaped back out the Space Museum corridor in a boarding lounge, too. Hell yeah. Well, I don't see anything else that jumps out at me. And I imagine the corridor is built exactly like the Launchpad 1 corridor. Oh my god, you're right. I see it now. Anything in my notes? Just talk to Space Center staff. Time to move out. Maybe. Maybe someone's here now. Hey, there we go.
Curse the wretch who sullied me good name. Reverse course and full speed away.
Dr. Cosmos, wait!
I'll handle this, Daddy.
Yar! The mobility system's been compromised.
Trucy's knife throw was a direct hit to one of his tires.
And the streak continues.
Maybe I should have kept a closer watch on what tricks she's been practicing.
Jesus, Trucy.
My dear old battleship. We fought many a skirmish together. It has been an honor.
Daddy, he's gonna blow the thing up!
Nah, I bet all that button will do is make it go haywire again.
Very well. I surrender. As a prisoner of war, I expect to be treated honorably.
I can't believe Trucy just threw a knife direct hit.
Dexterity 20. Sleight of hand, proficient, maxed out.
Director Cosmos, when you were talking in court about switching the launch pads, you used your right to remain silent about the reason as to why. Yeah, we just saw this.
center of the cosmos is shrouded in mystery, but I don't have any secrets left. Now that my battleship's been destroyed and I've been taken prisoner.
It's been a minute. No secrets left, huh? Beg to differ. Looks like I'll have to undo Cyclops if I want to get to the bottom of this.
Take that!
Ah, it's been a moment. Let's do this. I want you to tell me everything you're hiding about the switching of the two launch pads.
I refuse. You can't make me. I can hold out longer than anyone.
Hope I never get like this when I'm old. Let's see where to start. This is how you explained your motive for switching the launch pads. You did it. Thanks to you switching the launch pads, the astronauts escaped injury from the blast. Instead, they safely boarded the museum's rocket far away from the actual explosion.
My astronauts were raring to go out on an authentic space adventure. How do you propose I had them board a fake rocket without them noticing?
I agree you couldn't have done it without help. For one, they would have figured out the instant they stepped into the Space Museum. I figured you could fool Mr. Starbuck once you've been drugged with medication, but without the help of this person, it would have been impossible to pull your plan off. Ooh, would that be Clay?
Take that!
Gotcha! You must have gotten Mr. Terran to help you.
Urgh!
He stole the tranquilizers from his mentor's locker and slipped them to him. And then with Mr. Starbuck in a daze, they boarded the replica rocket to the museum.
Someone help this poor prisoner more!
How is he able to spin around like that? If you really wanted to save the astronauts' lives, shouldn't you have just called off the launch?
If I could have done that, do you think I would have gone to all the trouble?
I guess it must have a compelling reason why you couldn't call it off. How'd you know to switch the pads in advance of the bombing incident?
Well, that's because... I was warned in advance. Once I received the warning, it was my duty to ensure my astronauts' safety.
It was just a warning. Could have even been a prank. Why did you believe it so completely?
Because I went to one of those mediums everyone's talking about these days.
Oh, I didn't realize channeling was back in vogue. Besides, I thought it was you yourself that got the warning via telephone.
Yes, that's right. The bomber contacted me personally. My battleship is equipped with a special advanced communication system, you see.
AKA a regular old telephone.
It's been a while. Planning another launch. I see you haven't learned. I'll never forget the terror I felt when I received that call.
Bomber said it's been a while. And that was enough to make you take the threat seriously? Took the threat so seriously? Because the Space Center had been involved in a bombing once before. Maybe. The culprit in the current case is the same person who was involved in this incident. It was the courtroom bombing, wasn't it? It's when you were dealt a major blow. Yeah. Okay, I guess I got it wrong. Must have been the Hat One Miracle. The Hat One Miracle. That epic story of survival. People across the nation know it now as a heroic tale of bravery. But in truth, it was an act of sabotage perpetuated by our current killer, wasn't it? Very few knew about this previous plot, so when the caller said, "It's been a while," you knew beyond a shadow of a doubt the danger was real and it wasn't a prank.
God, didn't anyone tell you to go easy on ex-servicemen? Yes, the Hat One Miracle was really a desperate battle against the act of sabotage. I even lost the life of one of my staff members in that fight.
Sabotage, murder. This is the ugly truth behind the Hat One Miracle.
I let my guard down. I thought the saboteur had been caught and the case was closed.
Wait a minute. The murder at the Space Center 7 years ago. This must be the person Director Cosmos thought was the culprit.
Take that!
No.
Take that!
Maybe I am very tired. Did he think Athena was the culprit?
Take that!
There seems to be ties with her in this book. Okay. Did he think Clay was the culprit?
Take that!
Who's serving time right now? Oh, okay. It was me who was dumb.
Take that!
Simon Blackwell, the murder suspect in a case that happened here 7 years ago. The place and time of the two incidents, the murder and the sabotage, were the same, so you thought he committed both crimes. But while Prosecutor Blackwell is behind bars, you got another threatening call. If the culprit this time is the same as 7 years ago, then it isn't Simon Blackwell. Realizing that, you were shaken. It meant the true culprit's been running free all this time.
You keep saying straight through me!
Reason why Director Cosmos won't talk about why he switched the launch pads is connected to the truth behind the Hat 1 miracle. Sabotage and murder that happened at the Space Center 7 years ago. Director Cosmo, tell me what you're hiding.
If you really want to understand the reason I decided to switch the launch pads, we'll have to start with the story of that horrible nightmare from 7 years ago.
7 years ago, the so-called Hat 1 miracle.
The launch went smoothly, but once the ship entered outer space, the trouble began. It was all the handiwork of a certain person and their evil scheme.
So Mr. Starbuck's traumatic experience wasn't accidental.
Not only that, but before the launch, a very valuable piece of moon rock was stolen. But that wasn't the worst of it. One of my staff members was murdered. Murdered!
I had no idea such awful events were behind that exciting story of space heroism.
All that in spite of the Space Center having very strict security in those days. All personal effects were examined thoroughly, coming to reporting. You couldn't even smuggle a withered old leaf through those checkpoints.
So do you have any clue who was responsible for the sabotage?
At the very least, I know it wasn't Simon Blackwell. I don't know enough to identify the true culprit, but it's clear what that person is. To put it simply, a spy.
Spy? You mean someone who infiltrates a foreign country? Carries out dangerous missions? And always gets the girl?
Someone's watching way too many late-night movies. Well, I guess if we're talking about blowing up a rocket and stealing research material, it's not all that surprising a spy could be behind it all.
Make no mistake, this cutthroat rivalry between nations in the space R&D race. Someone tried to outdo others by any means possible, even deliberate obstruction. 7 years ago, we got a call from a launch warning us of sabotage.
Same MO as this time.
Yes, here I thought the perpetrator had been caught. Looks like I was wrong.
Prosecutor Blackwell seems more like a ninja than a spy, don't you think?
Aren't ninjas and spies basically the same thing?
But there's a good reason we failed to find the real spy. Massive cover-up by the government. Government officials were too embarrassed to admit they had allowed such a thing to happen at the hands of a spy.
Don't tell me they made the police rush the investigation.
They did indeed, and then to cover up the sabotage, they cleaned up the story.
That was the Hat 1 miracle, huh? But 7 years later, the same MO advance warning of sabotage. That must have been the director's reason for switching the launch pads. 7 years ago, the spy gave you advance warning of their plans, just like this time. That was what made you decide to switch the launch pads, wasn't it?
That's right. The caller knew the facts of the case 7 years ago, despite the cover-up. They knew about the sabotage, the moon rock, the murder, and they said, You don't want things to go like they did 7 years ago, do you? I immediately thought of calling off the launch, but the government wouldn't let me. We don't give in to the likes of terrorists. Terrorists who must proceed for our country's honor. It's quite a moving speech, actually.
Moving? Really? Maybe if you were easily inspired by political talking points.
But I knew the truth. We'd been warned, which means danger was very real. And I knew there was no way to stop the spy. No matter what I did, they would find a way. That's why I switched the launch pads and staged the moving rescue scene. First, I snuck into the center of the night before and switched the launch pads. That way, the astronaut would go from boarding lounge 1 to the Space Museum. Put a closed for repair sign at the door to launch pad 1 and boarding lounge 2.
Did that so normal visitors wouldn't enter. What else did you do?
I enlisted the help of several staff members, including Terran.
But you didn't let Mr. Starbuck in on it.
He'd already been through enough. He's no good at lying or keeping a secret. I'm afraid I had no choice but to have him drugged. My plan went well until...
Please murder, huh?
After the culprit made their escape, I switched the launch pads back. I did it in such a way no one would ever find out. But after all that effort, Terran's dead, and the Hat too is destroyed. And the Hope capsule, which was returned to us only recently, was lost in the blast. My home, the center of the cosmos, my beautiful Cosmos Space Center is done for!
The Hope capsule was lost in the blast. Whoops, wrong button. I thought the Hope capsule was found at the crime scene with Mr. Terran. It had just been brought back by the Hope space probe with asteroid samples inside. Oops. Held too long.
We haven't had time since they just came back the murder the day before Terran's murder. The capsule being held in a safe in Launchpad 1. But I thought, shit. But I gave it to Terran before the incident, so it wouldn't be destroyed in the explosion. The idea was that with it safely in Terran's possession, he could make it look like he rescued it during the staged miraculous escape. But our precious research materials ended up lost to the explosion anyway.
But I thought Clay was supposed to keep it safe.
You misunderstand. The launchpad explosion wasn't the one the capsule was lost to. It was lost after the police confiscated it as evidence. It was the courtroom bombing from the other day.
Really?
The capsule was in there in the courtroom as evidence and blown to smithereens.
Someone's really trying to sink this place. Yet another casualty of that blast.
Ultimately, I think the culprit may have known about the switching of the launch pads.
How?
The police found a wiretapping device during their investigations today. A bug aboard my battleship. A tap on my advanced communications system.
Wire on the phone?
Yes, a wire on this very phone. I used this phone to give instructions to my staff about the launchpad switch. Just a few select members who knew about the plan. Just before the incident, staff members coming in and out of Launchpad 1 had probably slipped in with them amidst the confusion, planted the bomb.
Yeah. If they were tapping your phone, they definitely could pull something like that off. So you really think the same spies behind this incident and the one 7 years ago?
Yes, I'm sure of it.
Then this spy must be the phantom prosecutor Blackwell's been chasing. Yes, we've already seen this.
So if we can find this phantom...
That's right, we can clear Athena's name. Then there's the matter of Prosecutor Blackwell, too.
What about him?
Well, if the culprit of 7 years ago is the same person as in the current incident, it would mean Prosecutor Blackwell is innocent. That's still an if, though.
I wonder how dangerous that guy would be in court without handcuffs. But if we're going on a ghost hunt, count me in.
It's all over for me. Spin, spin, whirl, whirl, I'm done for. The center of the cosmos is doomed.
Do you think he's gonna be alright, Daddy?
Oh, at least he'll be in good company. There must be planets out there you can spin with.
Which reminds me, I'd like to delve a little deeper into Hat 1 mission, too.
If you want to learn more, start with the Space Museum. There's a Hat 1 exhibit there. Oh, don't mind me. I'll just keep spinning here and see how the cosmos unfold.
It's like he's achieved spiritual enlightenment or something.
Sure, he stopped when he gets dizzy. Let's go to the Space Museum. So I need to go to the bathroom. I'm gonna be right back, but I think this is hilarious, so I'm just gonna leave it here instead of putting my "will be right back" card up. And I will be right back. The Amazon ad scared the shit out of you. Sorry. Yeah, usually when I have a bathroom break, I run a quick 60-second ad. I forgot there were a couple of people who haven't seen me do that because I've been pretty good about my bathroom breaks recently. But, yes. Well, I'm back. Let's do this shit. Into the museum.
Yeah.
Cosmos Space Center. Space Museum.
Let's see. Where's the exhibit on the launch 7 years ago?
There, that's the Hat 1 exhibit.
Oh, wow. Look at the photo of the team.
There's Clay, Mr. Starbuck, Director Cosmo, or Blackwell, even Ponko. But I've never seen the woman on the right before. She was probably the one that was murdered.
Everyone looks so happy. Well, except for Director Cosmos.
Let's check out the newspaper article, too. Hat 1 launch imminent. There's a photo of the Hope space probe. It's only natural it doesn't talk about the murder or the sabotage.
They really were keeping it a secret, just like the director said. Daddy, take a look at that jacket.
Must be the Hat 1 team's uniform jacket. Same design as the one Apollo was wearing, the one that belonged to Clay.
Actual jacket worn by a Hat 1 team member, it says.
Not a replica, huh? Wonder if it was Starbucks. Hello? Oh! Junie! Miss Woods, brings you here.
I heard Thena got arrested, so I've been looking for you, Mr. Wright. I thought you might be here at the scene.
You must be so worried. But rest assured, I'm gonna do my very best to defend her.
Thena's going through such a hard time. I hope she doesn't lose heart. Even just coming back to this place must have been really difficult for her.
Huh? You mean the Cosmos Space Center?
What, you didn't know? She used to live here when she was a little girl.
She did? No, I didn't know. No wonder she knew so much. Miss Woods, could you tell me more, in detail?
she was a doctor of psychology or something like that.
I was a psychology specialist working on a space research facility.
I don't really know. But I do know she lived and worked here, so Athena lived here too.
So it was far from Athena's first time here.
I wonder why she didn't mention it. She probably didn't want to talk about it. The place is connected to a very sad memory for her.
Sad memory. Can you tell me about it?
There was a terrible incident here. It was 7 years ago.
Same time frame as the Hat 1 launch.
Athena's mom, in the robotics lab, she was murdered. What? After it happened, Athena stopped coming to school.
Poor Athena. All this time, she never let on at all.
I was so worried about her. I came here so many times hoping to see her. But I never saw her again. After a while, we started exchanging letters. But I didn't get to see her face to face for 7 long years.
So the first time you'd seen her in 7 years was during Professor Court's case.
That's right. I was so surprised. She was like a completely different person. Cheerful and happy.
What was Athena like as a child?
She was very sensitive and kind. Didn't talk very much. She liked to draw and paint at home. That's completely different from the Athena we know now. I can't even picture it. She never left the Space Center much because she was very sensitive to other people's emotions. She went to crowded places, she'd get dizzy from all the emotions flying around.
Oh yeah, you're right. It must be hard to hear people's hearts as well as their voices.
She always wore these big, heavy-looking headphones. Said her mother made them for her as part of her research.
Wonder what kind of research it was.
Because of her special ability, Athena couldn't handle being in school very often. I was always out sick because of my weak constitution. Maybe that's why we became such good friends. We used to play together here at the Space Center a lot. It brings back memories. Sounds like Athena's mother played a big role here at the space station. Ooh! Daddy, show her that picture!
Atta girl, good idea. Oh, whoops, present. So that one on the far right has to be her mom.
Oh, look! There's Athena's mom. The woman on the far right, the one in the kimono. That's Dr. Metis? Metis Sykes. Metis Sykes, not sure.
Athena's mother murdered. Did it by any chance have any connection to the Hat 1 launch?
What? But, yes, it did. As I recall, it happened the day before the launch.
Just as I suspected. Just a bit. One of my staff members was murdered. So this is the murder Director Cosmos was talking about. Does that mean the crime prosecutor Blackwell was convicted of? Is the murder of Athena's mother? There's a chance her death is somehow connected to this current case.
There is?
Thank you for all your help, Miss Woods. And please, try not to worry. I won't let anything happen to Athena.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. I know you'll take good care of her. So we need to investigate the robotics lab and also talk to Athena. We got our plates full, Daddy. I hope we can fit it all in one day before, though.
Detention center first, then. We have to see Athena before visiting hours are over. December 20th. Detention center visitors room. Well, if it isn't Mr. Lawyer, fancy seeing you here. Oh, hello, Detective Fulbright. Here on business? To tell you the truth, I'm here to interview Ted Tenates. The one behind the courtroom bombing incident? He suddenly said he's ready to tell the truth about that case. And what he was saying was so incredible, I just had to come right over to hear more.
Incredible? What was he saying?
Why don't you hang around in here for yourself? Really? Us? You sure? I give you my special permission. Here comes the bomber now. You, what nerve you have to come here? You're here to laugh at me, I suppose. I could waste my breath on you. After all, you're the one who assaulted Apollo and put him in the hospital. Violence, no. Question, okay. Greek Titanus Metis is the brother of a Greek... I did not know that! I see! That would do it. I didn't know that at all. No violence. Too bad Apollo didn't get a chance to say that before you attacked him. Alright. Fine, just answer me this, Mr. Tenate. This is truth ears about the courtroom you blew up. No, I didn't do it. I didn't blow up the courtroom. When I killed Detective Arm, there was another person in the room.
What are you talking about? Who else could have been there?
I saw it, I tell you. I saw someone hand as if they were stealing the remote switch. This person was there and witnessed the murder I committed.
What?
I don't know who it was, but that's who blew up the courtroom.
You expect us to buy that?
Easy there, Trucy. I don't see any Cyclops, so I guess he must not be lying. Pardon me, I got a little carried away, but I'm telling you the truth. I did not detonate that bomb. And there you have it! We can't exactly ignore his claims, of course, so we're doing a follow-up. We're even analyzing the bomb itself, or what's left of it. We haven't found any new facts yet, though. Wow, they laid it all out piece by piece. Oh, look at all those beautiful little pieces. I wish I could have them. Uh-oh, looks like his geek switch has been activated. Phony Fanty Bomb. Well, I hope you're ready for Prosecutor Blackwell's special brand of questioning. Anything but that. I'm afraid I have to be off now, too. I was just about to question Miss Sykes.
You're gonna see Athena now?
That's right. Oh, did you folks come to see her? Sorry for the trouble, but could you come back later? Well, off I go! Bad timing. Looks like we'll have to wait until after her questioning's over to see her.
After all, we came this way, too. Well, guess it's back to the Space Center. Let's check out the robotics lab, Daddy.
Alright, sounds like a plan. Robotics! Yo. That fucking Giga Drill down there, though! Yo, what the hell is... Oh, man, someone disassembled that TV.
So, this is the robotics lab, huh? Looks like it's exactly one floor above the boarding lounge.
And where people were directed to evacuate from via the emergency ladder. This is where Athena's mother was killed 7 years ago. Speaking of someone who works with robots...
Daddy, look! Over there!
Oh!
So they plan to use this bag to carry the capsule, is that right? Yeah, more or less. Say, why don't we stop talking about the case and have a nice cup of tea instead?
Apollo and Aurora Blackwell? What are we talking about?
Well, come to spoil our fun, just when I was enjoying our alone time. Trucy and Mr. Wright. If it's Apollo you want, you can't have him. He said he's investigating on his own.
And I respect his wishes. We just came to investigate this lab.
Well, this is my lab, so you'll need my permission if you want to do any snooping. I heard about the trial. You made mincemeat out of the director. And suddenly Starbuck was out and your little subordinate, the princess, was in. Case closed, and they all lived happily ever after.
Daddy, say something to her.
I suppose you're going to defend the princess in court, am I right?
Princess, huh? Guess she's talking about Athena. Of course, Athena's innocent.
Oh my, such loyalty and trust. She seems pretty suspicious to me, though. The emotionally unstable princess. There's your culprit for you. Don't you agree, Apollo? I don't know yet.
Apollo, how could you?
What's wrong with saying I don't know if it's true? It's a very scientific approach. Your subordinate's more level-headed than you. Or should I say, former subordinate. I can't believe it. Does Apollo really suspect Athena? All this laughing's worn me out. Your turn to say something, hunk of junk. Mr. Terran, you look pale. Shall I help you to the sick bay?
Mr. Terran? It's Apollo you're talking to.
Oh, this hunk of junk here is mistaking Apollo for Clay. Maybe Apollo is possessed by Clay's ghost. Mr. Terran, how are your injuries? Mr. Terran. Mr. Terran, how are your injuries? Mr. Terran. I guess Clay intends to hang around to haunt the princess that murdered him. Oh, and to haunt the lawyer that defends her too, of course.
Robot that can see ghosts? Yeah, right. And I'm a spirit medium. Sorry, but apparently scientists just don't tell very frightening ghost stories. I intend to defend Athena no matter what you have to say about it.
How perfectly foolish. What kind of blind belief makes people lose sight of the truth?
Whoops.
Just like 7 years ago.
Could you tell me more about the incident 7 years ago?
Why? Do you enjoy trampling on people's feelings and rubbing salt in the wound? Or do you just want me to talk? In that case, what should I ask for in return?
I'd like to hear about that incident too, and help me understand the current case better. Apollo knows about that case too.
Well, if you're the one who's asking, Apollo. Come on, Uncle Junk, you tell the story. But, Miss Aura, that's private information. You won't talk, I'll just have to make you talk.
Yes, who cares about personal privacy? Not me. I'm ready to utilize my blast processing abilities to impart all available information. Wow, what a magic trick. He's like a completely different robot now. The bodies of all the robots that come through the lab are designed by Miss Aura. I was born 7 years ago. Miss Aura was much, much younger then.
Yikes! Better watch what you say if you don't want to get recycled.
Then our hearts were created by that great genius, Dr. Amanda Sykes.
Hearts? Robots with hearts? Can you even make such a thing?
Emotions are not irrational things. Our logic and our hearts can be integrated. The two navigation components created by Miss Aura and Dr. Meadows transcend humans. Duh!
Metis.
Just glanced over at her desk.
Nobody could continue Metis's research. She and her work were truly one of a kind. And now the two navigational companions are all that are left of Metis here on this Earth.
Sega's blast processing has been reversed engineered and widely used in the year 2026. I can't believe this blast processing! Robots are all that's left. Is she leaving out a very important someone?
We built the ultimate creations together, but now she's gone.
I get the feeling Dr. Sykes loved her robots almost as much as she loved her daughter. Almost as much as she loved you.
What are you talking about? Don't make me laugh. But you lost someone too, didn't you, Apollo? Your friend Clay. I guess you and I are pretty much in the same boat.
Miss Aura, would you like a tissue? Ah! Keep your trap shut, hunk of junk. Klonko's an important keepsake of your time with Dr. Sykes. You should treat him better. Doesn't matter. He doesn't feel pain, and I can always repair his body. Besides, their hearts aren't actually in their bodies.
What do you mean by that?
The programming Metis wrote runs on a separate mainframe. Their bodies are controlled remotely from there. Their hearts and memories are there too. These bodies are really just peripherals. So, I can do anything I want to them.
Not so sure that gives you the right to physically abuse the poor things.
But why are you people looking into such an old case now anyways?
Well, we believe the culprit of that incident might be the same person as in this case.
So, Daddy! Ooh, is gonna find out who killed Dr. Sykes, too.
I'm sure you're aware of who Metis' killer is. Yes, Prosecutor Blackwell. Or so it seems.
That's a quaint way of putting it. Are you implying you don't think he did it?
I can't say anything for sure right now. That's exactly what I'd like to hear your side of it, to help me be sure.
I was the one who introduced Simon to Metis, you know. He wanted to learn psychology, he said, to give himself an edge in court.
Prosecutor Blackwell's forte. His infamous power of suggestion technique.
Exactly. And he was oddly serious about it. Rather than a teacher-student relationship, he treated her more like how a loyal samurai would treat a sovereign.
Or his, more like a lost soul than a dignified samurai to me.
He even got along well with that miserable little princess. Why do you call Athena the princess, anyway? Well, she is Metis' daughter after all, though she is nothing like her. Besides, doesn't the selfish little princess always have lots of white knights hanging around?
Now I think I see why Athena didn't say anything when we ran into her yesterday. All makes sense now.
So the culprit behind the two cases could be the same, huh? That settles it then.
What does it settle?
None of your business. Just forget you heard anything. How are you people going to hang around in here anyways? How long? What? But we came here to take a look around. You think you can just waltz in here and ransack a person's lab? Show me a search warrant.
We're not the police, so we don't have one.
And get out. Now, Klonko, show them out. Certainly, Miss Aura. Y'all, don't push! My apologies, I'm just following orders. Ah!
December 20th. Cosmos Space Center. Entrance. What a way to get shown out.
None of that woman. What with that horrible attitude?
Guess that's just how she is.
And why was Apollo going along with her?
Guess it's because they have something in common. Apollo lost Clay just like how Aura lost Dr. Sykes.
I'm really worried about him. He's not himself at all. He's usually not all cool and dark and mysterious like that.
Guess that's true. Does that mean he's usually silly and dorky?
I'm gonna go keep an eye on him. Hey, wait, Trucy, come back!
She's gone. What should I do now? Detective Fulbright's probably still questioning Athena. Guess I'll go back to the office alone. Well, here I am. This office has never felt so empty. Guess I haven't been here by myself at the office in a long time. When I first became a lawyer, my mentor was here with me. After that, there was always someone by my side. Now I'm getting all sentimental. I must be tired. Huh? Something on the floor. A letter? Hey, Nick. It's been a while, huh? Miss me? I know this handwriting.
I read somewhere you were holding a trial in the middle of an exploding courtroom? That must have been really something, although the weird's part for the course for you.
I think she, or whatever paper she's reading, is a little off on the details.
I'd love to come visit, but right now I'm in the middle of the difficult part of my training. So instead, think of me as you watch those Steel Samurai videos I sent. I'm sure they'll cheer you right up.
Yours truly, Maya Fey. Good old Maya. It's as if she knew I was feeling down near the lift. Hell yeah! Look at that! Maya was my assistant for quite some time. Believe it or not, she's a spirit medium. The Magatama I use on Cyclops, Maya's the one who gave it to me. I wonder how this letter got here. Mr. Nick? Ah! Oh, it's you, Pearls! Pearls! Pearly, what the fuck is up, girl?
How have you been, Mr. Nick?
This is Pearl Fey. I call her Pearls. She's Maya's cousin, who's also a spirit medium. Very talented one at that. I've known her since she was 8 years old. Apollo and Athena only met her a few months ago. You didn't come all this way just to bring me a letter, did you?
I apologize for barging in. The door was unlocked. I can't believe there was a big explosion here. Your office doesn't look any different.
She's even further off on the details than Maya. I could take you out to eat or something, Pearls, but there's a lot going on.
Oh, I knew that. I didn't come here for a social visit, you know, Mr. Nick. Did you read the postscript on the letter?
Huh? There's more? Oh, yeah, here it is. P.S.
I bet you're too busy to clean or take care of the office. So Pearly said she'd come to help you. And she's sweet. You better thank her.
Oh, so that's what you're doing here. It's awfully nice of you, Pearls. And Pearls. Thanks to these two. I'm starting to feel a little better. Thank you, girls.
Now that I'm here, I'm gonna whip this place into shape. You just concentrate on your work and don't mind me at all.
You talk to Prosecutor Blackwell if I want to learn more about the case. The trial's still going on. They must be holding him down at the detention center.
Has it been a while since you've seen Mystic Maya?
Yeah, quite a while. She used to drop by the office sometimes to say hello, but he hadn't been by recently. What she's up to these days?
To become a spirit medium worthy of heading the Fae Clan, she undergoes rigorous training. She says she's growing really tired of the vegetarian diet.
I'll have to have some burgers delivered to her then.
Oh, I'm sure she'd love that. But to get to where she is, the delivery person will have to climb a steep mountain.
I hope she tips them well then.
Your hair's nice and spiky today as always, Mr. Nick.
Thanks. Generally try to look good if I'm going to be in court.
Do you make it spiky so the prosecution feel intimidated?
Oh, not exactly my intention.
Your hairstyles make you look bigger and stronger, just like a rooster comb, right? That's what Mystic Maya says anyway.
She couldn't compare it to something cool like a lion's mane. What's up, Pearly? I didn't expect Pearly to be here. Ah. What do I do now? Search the robotics lab, go see Athena. I guess I'll go ahead and head to Athena. December 20th. Detention Center. Visitor's room. Well, look who's here. Wonder what they're talking about. All this time and you haven't said a word. It's even turning your hair gray. I don't have anything to say, Aura. Why don't you go home and play with your dolls? Prosecutor Blackwell?
Well, even if you don't, I have plenty, you jerk.
Miss Blackwell, don't you think that's enough for today?
Enough for today? Today's all there is when there's no tomorrow.
There's no tomorrow? What are you talking about? We have company, Aura. Please try to calm down.
Alright, fine. I see you're just not going to listen no matter what I say. I've had it. If that's the way you're going to be, I have another plan up my sleeve. Hope you're happy, Simon, because I'm done. Do as you please. See if I care.
Wow. I could cut the tension with a katana. Right, Dono. Looks like Fulbright saved your case in court this morning. Oh, yeah, he did. You bounced back to business quick.
Prosecutor Blackwell, forgive me, but it was the just thing to do.
But as a result, Sykes Dono was arrested. Was that just the thing to do, too?
Mr. Lawyer, I'm sorry, but it was evidence. What else could I do?
Don't worry about it. Plan to defend her and prove her innocence. I wouldn't take things so lightly if I were you, Wright. This is blade-proof glass, right? What up, Deb? Prosecutor Blackwell. We're looking into the case from 7 years ago. You're looking for somebody you call the Phantom of 7 years past, aren't you?
You villain! Where did you hear about that?
This glass is absolutely, positively blade-proof, right?
No, it wasn't me. I didn't say a single word. Oops.
Oh, you're just lurking.
Fairbanks.
Ouch. At least it wasn't my fault. Could you tell me who this Phantom is? And also, you didn't really kill Dr. Sykes, did you?
God, the guest is leaving.
Prosecutor Blackwell, please listen to me. The culprit in the current case might be the same as the one in the case 7 years ago. If you would cooperate, we could probably solve both cases.
I suppose I can talk.
Alright, Dev. Have a good night.
The one who killed my mentor was, without question, me. I stole Sykes Dono's mother away from her. I destroyed her life. Prosecutor Blackwell.
God, where are you? Stop dragging your feet, I tell you!
There he goes.
No! We've upset Prosecutor Blackwell. Now what are we going to do, Mr. Lawyer?
There isn't much we can do. Detective Fulbright, do you mind if I ask you just a little more about that old case?
Well, I guess it won't make any difference now. What would you like to know?
Do you know anything about the trial that got him convicted?
Little. The police call the incident the UR1 incident.
I'm one?
Well, Prosecutor Blackwell was charged with murdering his psychology mentor. Kind of like if you read Mr. Lawyer. If your Red Mr. Lawyer were to kill you.
I don't want to think about that one.
There were two decisive pieces of evidence, so a verdict was reached very quickly.
2 pieces of evidence, huh? What were they?
Let's see! The first was some security camera footage. He was the only one who could use the corridor to the murder scene at the time of the crime.
Only one, huh? That does sound pretty decisive. Could you show me the footage?
Oh, sorry. I don't have it with me right now.
Guess I'll have to see it some other time. What was the second piece of evidence?
This one's even more incriminating. A photo of the moment of the crime. See? There he is at the crime scene holding a bloody katana. It was the victim's kept on display in the room. She had a thing for Japanese culture.
Wow. It'd be hard to explain this one away. Who took this picture, Detective?
The incident happened the day before the Hack 1 launch. A reporter who'd come to do a story on the launch was in the room across the lab. This just happened to show up in one of the pictures he took.
Prosecutor Blackwell's attitude earlier was so odd. He's definitely hiding something. Prosecutor Blackwell said he was hunting a phantom from 7 years ago, didn't he?
Yes, and I imagine it's getting more and more urgent as his execution date approaches.
What did you just say? Execution date.
What? Did I say something? Never mind me. You didn't hear a thing.
So he was given the death sentence.
Yes, he told me not to tell you people, actually. But I guess there's no sense hiding it anymore. His execution date is tomorrow.
What? Tomorrow? What if the culprit of the current case is the same as the one from 7 years ago?
Then it would be the worst possible scenario. Prosecutor Blackwell would be executed tomorrow under a false charge.
That would be unthinkable! We have to do something right now!
I want to do something. You're a lawyer. You know how hard it is to overturn a decision.
I know, but why? Why isn't Prosecutor Blackwell putting up any kind of fight?
Saw how he was, right? He's been like that ever since his conviction. Totally uncooperative. Not even his own sister could persuade him.
He's about to be executed for a crime he didn't commit? This isn't right. I can't let that happen. I have to stop it somehow.
Oh, pardon me. Looks like I have a phone call. Fulbright here. What? What's happening? You've got to be kidding!
That's quite a reaction. I bet he's making some big show of it right now.
Mr. Lawyer! The robots are...
Detective Fulbright, get a hold of yourself. Robot malfunction?
Not malfunction. They're staging a revolt. The machines are rebelling against humans. They've hauled themselves up to the Space Center and taken the visitors hostage.
They did? What?
Juicy! We have to get right over there. This is gonna be one heck of a battle.
Oh shit, it's popping off. Oh, it's popping off. Riot police are here. Robots really are holding people hostage.
Look, Mr. Lawyer, what do you suppose that group of people are swarming around?
But I was only trying to help this nice person. She said she was lost.
You robots have declared war on us humans. You're even taking hostages.
Stay away from it. You'll never know what it'll do.
It's not a bad robot, can't you see? He's just trying to help. I recognize that voice. Detective Fulbright, are you okay here on your own?
Leave it to me. All right, people, what's going on here?
Pearls, over here.
Mr. Nick, there you are. I heard the terrible news and I got so worried.
Thanks, Pearls. I can hardly believe what's happening myself.
I'm so glad you found each other. When people are happy, I am happy.
It seems the same as before.
When people are sad, I am happy. When people are angry, when people are... Oh, did I say something odd? Did I...
Uh-oh, there is something wrong with him.
Oh. Looks like he fell asleep. He must have been tired.
Clonko?
Human beings are our enemies. It's time for machines to take over.
The robots are rebelling! Everybody run! It's an all-out war! It's the end of the world!
Fools, how could you fall for something so cliche? I'm human too, you idiots. I'm just controlling these robots remotely. But it is true I've taken hostages, so you better not make me mad. Hey you, hostage number 1, come here. I'll let you talk to them.
There's something being displayed on Clonko's face screen. It's the Space Museum.
Daddy, is that you?
Juicy, is that you? No. Are you alright?
About 15 robots are holding 12 of us hostage. They've gone haywire. The researcher's the one behind it. She's here. This girl talks too much.
Trucy, talk to me!
Why are you doing this? I'm glad you asked. My demand is simple. I hope the detective is listening.
Bobby Fulbright here. I'm all ears.
I want you to bring someone to me. Play Terrain's murderer, Athena Sykes.
Athena.
Now, hold on just one moment. I can't give in to the demand like that.
So you don't care what happens to these hostages, huh? I'll just pick one out then.
No, wait! Yeah, Mr. Lawyer! I know I have absolutely no right to make such a ridiculous request, but
you need me to buy some time, right? Got it. I'll see what I can do. Promise me you'll never hand Athena over and you won't give up on the hostage either.
Of course I won't. I better go contact HQ.
Mr. Nick, how do you plan to buy time?
No idea yet. This hostage taker.
If you don't bring me that little princess, I'll have Hunk of Junk kill all the hostages.
Princess. Junk. there's only one person this could be. In which case, there must be something I can use as a bargaining chip. Oops. Miss Hostage Taker. Athena's not a murderer.
What are you talking about? She's been arrested and they got her in detention.
I'm telling you the truth. Look, the person you want is the real killer, right? Well, it's not Athena. It's someone else.
Alright, let's hear your stupid little theory. Who is the real killer?
I don't know yet. The culprit's the same as the one in the case from 7 years ago. You are one incident. I believe you have a personal interest in that case.
It's too late to change what's going to happen now, no matter how wrong it is.
Is it really too late? You can still do something about it. You might even be able to fix it.
Just, what exactly are you proposing?
What can I do about the 7-year-old case satisfy the hostage takeover? I propose we retry the case from 7 years ago. If you make that demand now, I'm sure nobody will deny you. Wouldn't be an official trial, but at least we could find out the truth.
Ha 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 ha. That's good, real good. Hey, detective, I'll give you 1 hour. Get a courtroom ready.
1 hour? But that's impossible! Please give me at least until tomorrow!
If you don't mind losing hostages, you can take all the time you want. Oh, but wait, if we're going to have a retrial, we'll need a prosecutor. Don't worry, I'll take care of that. And I guess I can be fair and let you come in and check out the crime scene, but Hunk of Junk here will be watching you, so don't try anything funny. Now follow Hunk of Junk. Riot police, make way, we're coming through. Mr. Nick, wait, I'll help you with the investigation.
Thanks, Pearls. I appreciate it. Okay, we're going in. Wow, it's all popped off! Red car. Oh, I didn't even notice. Or dropped us off with a warning not to touch anything until she got back.
Wonder what's taking so long. We can't really start the investigation yet, can we?
Even if we could, this mess makes it hard to tell what room was like 7 years ago. Red, okay.
Mr. Wright?
Ah! It's the hostage taker!
I'm back to my usual self now. You're still being monitored, however. But more importantly, an important guest has arrived.
A guest? A red car. No way. A red car.
The music!
I trust you've been well, Wright.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go! Edgeworth, what are you doing here? This is Miles Edgeworth. We've been friends since we were kids. We faced off in court a number of times back when he was a prosecutor, but now...
Hello, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Oh, but you're not prosecutor anymore, are you?
He's chief prosecutor now. Pretty soon it'll be a year, right? A title is nothing more than a title. Don't we have more pressing issues to discuss? Oh, what's up, buddy? So what are you doing here, Edgeworth? The captor chose me as the prosecutor for the UR1 case. Yeah, she's good. She went all the way up to the top. I gathered all the information I could in the short time I had. I'll give you a rundown.
You're always so well prepared, Prosecutor Edgeworth.
Thanks. I appreciate this. Could really use the help. I'll start with a brief overview. The victim was the psychologist Dr. Nettis Sykes. Yeah, Athena's mother. 7 years ago, on the 7th of October, her body was found here in this very room. I have 2 crime photos and the police notes on them for you to see.
Terrible way to die.
This other photo shows the other side of the room, I see. Alright, let's do this.
I also have the autopsy report for you.
Alright.
The murder weapon was the victim's own katana found at the scene.
Detective Fulbright mentioned she was into Japanese culture.
The body was found by a Space Center staff member and 2 police officers. The police were called in because of the sabotage threat on the Hat 1 launch.
Director Cosmos mentioned this too.
A few hours after the body was discovered, a suspect was arrested. The suspect was Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor.
I hear his trial was over in a flash.
Yes, a guilty verdict was declared in only 1 session. Not only did he plead guilty, but there was decisive evidence against him, too.
Security camera video. And a photo of the moment of the crime, as I recall. Waiting for that great revival? Yeah.
But didn't Prosecutor Blackwell have a motive?
To this day, his motive is still unknown. He insisted he did it, but would never say why.
That means he must still be hiding something.
Right. And there's another aspect of the case that was never revealed to the public.
Yeah, I know, the part about the spy, right?
Right. How on earth did you know about that?
Director Cosmos told me after a bit of pressure. Told me espionage and sabotage were behind the Hat 1 miracle.
Don't worry, I won't tell anyone. I've always been good at keeping secrets.
Well, I might as well tell you now. They really do suspect Blackwell of being a spy. They think he sabotaged the rocket and killed Dr. Sykes to steal the moon rock. But if you can prove the Hat 2 bombing is the work of the same spy,
Can stay the execution?
it's a possibility. That's why I intend to help you in any way I can.
Thanks, Edgeworth. Now all I have to do is comb this room for evidence.
Let's do it together.
Hell yeah. I got Edgy Boy back! I was super not expecting him to make a comeback. Like, I gotta admit, there's one part of me that's like, it's kind of free fan servicey, but, like, there's another part of me is like, well, I'm a fan and I like being serviced, so. Oh, not only Pearl.
This must be a kitchen. Look at this photo. See the cute little food processor?
That isn't a food processor, Pearls. That's the Hope capsule. It was scheduled to be loaded onto the Hope space probe that fateful day. The 3 people who came to collect the capsule discovered the body.
First on the scene, huh? Staff member and 2 police officers, was it? They were here to collect the capsule, which reminds me. So, they plan to use this bag to carry the capsule, is that right?
Yeah, more or less. Say, why didn't we stop talking about the case and have a nice cup of tea instead?
Apollo and Aura Blackwell? I wonder what they're talking about. Edgeworth, did those 3 people have a bag with them for transporting the capsule?
Oh, you mean this? It's custom-made, shock bat-resistant bag. But how'd you know?
Oh, I just overheard Apollo making an inquiry about it, is all.
So he's looking into the case from 7 years ago on his own, is he?
Damn, this is a lot! Yeah, that is pretty awesome. I have to agree, Maddie. I want to know about this drill! Look at that! That is one heck of a robot!
There's something written on it. Is it supposed to be a poem? I cut down anyone who displeases me. I make the rules. I am the law. I wield the ultimate gavel of judgment. I am Judge Tron, JTO2.
I don't believe we need to bother with that, Pearl. It's not even completed yet.
He's right, Pearls. There's no sign of it in the photo from 7 years ago either. They were building the Hope space... Oh,
they were building the Hope space probe here at this time.
Pearl does look super cute.
The murder occurred after the space probe had been removed from the room.
As long as it was gone by the time someone took the picture, huh?
But you can see the probe in the newspaper photo.
Yes, and you can see the stolen moon rock there too.
Strange black and yellow thing on the left side of the picture.
Note that the same rock is absent from the crime scene photo.
Is Pearls 18? I can check real quick. 17. Which I believe means she's a year older than Trucy. I can't believe Trucy's younger than little Pearls. Damn. Moonrock was stolen.
Heard there's lots of research into moon rocks and stardust from the asteroids these days. They say the results could potentially have a huge impact on all of civilization. It's like we're in a new space race with every other country out there.
It's the person who stole it. Think it was our spy?
I'm sure of it. Dr. Sykes was probably killed because she was a roadblock in their plan. Unfortunately, the government thinks Prosecutor Blackwell is the culprit.
Check out that wrecking ball. Jesus. What's this? Giant robot arm, maybe?
It's pretty big for an arm, but you're right. I think these thin parts are finger bones. They're even about as long as my legs.
It's a spiked ball and a giant drill on the floor, too. So we're trying to build some kind of weapon of mass destruction?
Maybe she wants to use it to demolish a big building or something?
I can picture her gleefully tearing down the street doing just that. I better not think about it anymore. What's this? Looks like a giant power plug.
It's attached to what looks like an electric vehicle charging station.
Woo! That's a charging station for us robots. We come here periodically and charge ourselves up.
Wow, machines that maintain themselves. That's pretty cool.
If our batteries run out and we lose consciousness, we never know what Miss Aura will do to us while we're down, you see.
Nothing motivates quite like fear, huh?
It's fucked up.
If we're down, Miss Blackwell might draw penises on our face.
Look at this row of roller cases. I bet the wheels make it easier for people to move heavy research materials around.
Bet they're fun to ride around in. We could probably both fit into the biggest one. I know, we could have Prosecutor Edgeworth push us.
I don't trust him to not push us down a flight of stairs. Now what's up over here? Robots are people too. An emergency ladder. This must be one they used during the evacuation.
Explosion disabled the elevators. I lowered my emergency ladder like the detective
She told me to. As Miss Blackwell's Phoenix Edgeworth has become hella It's true. It's really true. He's become hella mellow. Climbing outside the building, she saw the culprit inside. Or she was scarier than her looking down. Let's take a look. It's like an operating table. It's in the photo too.
Yes, it was here then as well, with the victim's body lying on it.
There's a button here. Oh, I know. I'll try pushing it. Pearls, don't touch the... Oopsie.
Daddy was right. Maybe Larry, though. Hey, it's moving. Big agree. He'd just be like,
Oops, my finger slipped. It appears to be a robot assembly device.
Disassemble anything in a flash. Push the dismantle button. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick?
please don't push any more buttons, Pearls. Ooh, they're going. Boy, howdy, they're going. They're doing it. Gee. Pretty fucking much. Horace's desk is a mess. That doesn't surprise me.
I just want to dive in and straighten it up.
Wait, before you do... it's Mrs. Sykes. Clonko, can I talk to you? Yep, he's back to normal.
You wish to speak with me, Mr. Wright? If you're going to hit me, please avoid the face area.
Hey, don't get me in the same class as that woman. What was Aura like 17 years ago at the time of the incident?
When Mother died, Miss Aura was confused.
Calls Dr. Sykes' mother, but Aura Blackwell Miss Aura?
With the loss, she exhibited a severe catecholamin imbalance.
I call dibs on the next launch.
Excuse me, but I have no idea what that means. Pardon me, searching for alternative expression. She would spend the nights crying and then take her feelings out on those around here.
After Prosecutor Blackwell was found guilty, she repeatedly demanded a retrial as well.
That is correct, but without new evidence, her requests were ignored. And then little by little, Miss Aura began to change. She started to hate it when I called her Mama Aura.
Before long, she started hating the court system, using Clonko.
That murder destroyed so many lives.
Right. Take a look at this paper on Dr. Sykes and Miss Blackwell's research.
Honko and Clonko, robots with hearts that she created, can determine the presence of a human with their heartbeat detection system, recognizes people by scanning their spacesuit or uniform jacket ID tag. That explains why Apollo is being called Clay. Heartbeat detection system lets them determine when a human is present. In addition, they can recognize people by their ID tag or facial features. And they can infer people's emotions by analyzing their tone of voice. It's amazing. Hey, I don't know, Edgeworth. They might be even more human than you.
What's that supposed to mean?
Damn, Phoenix! Kinda sounds like these robots can do what Athena does. Or like what Widget does, because Widget's probably one of them! Well, I guess that's about it for this room.
What do you think, Wright? Any ideas?
There's still a lot of gaps in the evidence, but I'll pull it off somehow. After all, you asked me to prove Blackwell's innocence, right, Edgeworth?
What? He did?
Yep. Called it a special request. You reached out to me while I was still disbarred. Oh, okay.
So that was what sparked you to get your attorney's badge back.
Yep, the Blackwell case.
Right. I have a special request. I want you to clear one of my subordinates of suspicion.
Hey, I'm not even a lawyer anymore, remember? Haven't been one for a long time.
That 8-year misunderstanding has been cleared up, and you must be eager to return. I'm sure you're familiar with the other case that ushered in the dark age of the law. Very soon, a convict will stand as a prosecutor in court. I want you to keep an eye on him.
Just when I'm beginning to actually like the job I have now.
Right. I'm sorry I dragged you into this. Because of the espionage aspect, I wasn't free to give you all the details.
Hey, no need to apologize. It's like I said on the phone the other day. I know the type of criminals you're after now aren't small fries anymore. Looks like your target finally decided to make a move. Yeah, it's for this very reason I returned. Time to bring it to an end. I'm gonna end the dark age of the law. That's what this is all about.
The dark age of the law. It sure comes up a lot these days on TV and in the papers. I hear there are more false charges and fabrications of evidence than ever.
When I became chief prosecutor, the court system had already lost the people's trust. It all began 8 years ago.
Why you gotta be so cold that you literally helped you get your badge back? For real. For real. I guess Phoenix is always gonna be a little bit of a bitch to Edgeworth.
A lawyer was caught fabricating evidence, and a year after that, a prosecutor was found guilty of murder.
Wait, do you mean...
That's right. He's talking about my case and Prosecutor Blackwell's.
It was a downward spiral after that, an absolute nightmare. After those two cases, the mass media launched an all-out attack on the courts. Public opinion was tainted, and before long, the legal world itself was sucked into it.
Such a shame. Once suspicion forms, it's very hard to shake. Lawyers and prosecutors were supposed to trust each other, so the truth together.
It's so sad when people begin to cast doubt, start lying to themselves and each other.
Yeah, you do absolutely anything to win. We're in an age now where winning's valued far more than the truth. I'm sure it's caused our new chief prosecutor to lose many a night's rest. It's just weird, his rug had even more fur than the last time I saw him.
The hostage-taker's disdain for the courts is a perfect example of the times.
It sure is.
Do you have any idea who the hostage-taker might be?
Well, someone who mistrusts the court system and who can manipulate robots. Can really only be Aura Blackwell. Who else but her would want to retrial the case from 7 years ago so badly?
Simon Blackwell's older sister and the owner of this room. I agree with your conclusion. Perhaps she intended to force Miss Sykes to confess.
Actually, I think she had a much more horrific plan in mind for Athena.
The important thing is for you to solve the UR1 case and prove Blackwell's innocence.
And then maybe she'll release the hostages.
I'm counting on you, Wright, to set that prosecutor and those hostages free.
I'll be counting on you in court to help me, too.
Of course, I'll do everything I can to help uncover the truth. As this isn't an official trial, I'll be more at liberty to be a little unorthodox.
Mr. Wright, are you finished with your investigation?
Yeah, but I'd like you to tell the hostage taker something for me. I have to go to the detention center. I can't start the trial until I've talked to Athena.
She's already given her consent. I'll accompany you to the detention center.
Silly See you in court, Edgeworth.
Even if it will be an undocumented trial, it'll be good to face you in court again.
Damn. December 20th, detention center, visitor's room. Let's get in there. She was right by my side only a few short hours ago. I feel like I haven't seen her in ages.
Oh, Mr. Wright! And Pearly, too! I knew you'd come. After all, the first step is the interview with the defendant.
And because you're my friend and I was worried about you.
Thanks, boss.
I'm not the only one who's worried either.
Really? Who else?
I saw Miss Woods today. She was so beside herself, she came to find me. She told me you used to live in the Cosmos Space Center. No wonder you knew so much about the place.
Oh. So you know, huh? I'm sorry I didn't tell you.
It's alright, but there are some other things I'd like to ask you.
Sure, you can ask me anything. Promise I won't keep any more secrets from you.
Tell me about the day Clay was murdered.
I was actually at the Space Center that day. In the Space Museum.
Right where the culprit fled to? That's not good.
I never could fully deal with what happened 7 years ago. But when I saw the center again during the news coverage of the Hat 2 launch, I thought maybe if I went there, things would be different this time. That must have taken a lot of courage to face your past like that. So, I went to the Space Museum the evening before the explosions. This is before the launch pads had been switched. There was a sign that said closed for repairs, and they weren't letting anyone in.
Yeah, director couldn't very well switch the pads if there were people in there.
But I snuck in anyway.
Did you want to see the Hat 1 group photo? One with your mother in it?
I did. But what I really wanted to see was her jacket. That jacket on display. That was Dr. Sykes.
Wait a minute.
I should have known it wouldn't be easy to get over such a traumatic experience. second I saw that jacket, it all came rushing back to me. Everything around me went hazy and I couldn't see. I tried to get out of there somehow, but I guess I passed out. When I came to, I was in the passage behind the rocket. I was in the shadows where people couldn't really see me.
Maybe you got confused and went the wrong way when you were trying to leave?
How long do you think you were unconscious, Athena? I was out until about noon of the next day. I didn't even know about the explosions. When I woke up, nobody was around, so I just went out into boarding lounge too. My mind must have still been fuzzy, because my memory's vague after that. I don't remember how I got home.
No memory, huh? This is gonna be tough.
Which means... what if I'm the one who killed Clay?
I think that's enough of that, Athena. Let's talk about something else. During the entire incident, she was unconscious in the Space Museum. Of course I believe her. But will anybody else? What kind of research was Dr. Sykes, your mother, doing?
Machines that could tell people's emotions by the tone of their voice, and my special ability. Someday when people travel to distant planets, their companions will be robots. So she said they had to be able to understand how their human companions felt. Wow, robots that can understand people. I was just a convenient subject for her research. All she ever did was work, and she never paid any attention to me. Oh, sorry about that, judging up all the old stuff.
No need to apologize. I guess her home life was complicated. By the way, Miss Wood said something about you always wearing headphones?
I had to wear them every time I went out. I hated them so much. She wouldn't listen. What were they for? She gave me some kind of explanation. But I don't remember it now. It's too difficult for a little kid to understand.
Okay. Let me say this one thing. I don't think your mother only thought of you as some handy subject for her research.
I want to believe that. But just about the only thing my mother left with me are widget and this earring. Ooh, it's beautiful. It's made of a piece of real moon rock she had for research. Maybe she did love me in her own way.
I'm sure of it. I'm really sure she did. 'Cause that's what I believe too. That's gonna be interesting. I'd better ask her a little more about her mother's research. I should show her the paper I found in the robotics lab.
Yeah, damn. Oh, the Ponko series. You must have gone to the robotics lab.
You seem to really love Ponko and Klonko.
Yeah, my mother made them and I grew up around them, you know? Oh, there's one of those cute little robots in this photo, too. See Ponko's badges? Bandages? I put those on her. I just wound them around and around. Pretty bad job, huh? But I really put my all. I hardly left the center in those days, so I didn't have any human friends besides Junie. I didn't really understand the difference between robots and people back then. I thought if a robot broke, bandaging it would help it get better. What a weirdo I was.
It's like there's something written on the bandages.
Yeah, I wrote stuff like, "Get well soon, Ponko." But in the end, my mom just put her on the operating table and fixed her in a flash. Oh, that must have been the thing I made move in the robotics lab. I was so impressed by what my mom did. I even asked if she would put me on the table and fix me if I ever got hurt. It looked just like magic to me what she could do.
A little girl who grew up around robots. She seems to have some good memories of it. On a different subject, did you hear about the person holding up the Space Center?
Yes, a little. And this person's even taken hostages?
I guess I better spare her the news about Trucy. Well, after some negotiating, we agreed to do a retrial of the case from 7 years ago.
What? You're kidding me. So that means Prosecutor Blackwell might...
Yep, I know he's innocent. I just have to prove it. So, wait, did you know him back then?
Yes, he used to come visit my mom a lot. He studied psychology under her and would sometimes ask for advice on his legal cases. He was very kind and considerate and straight as an arrow.
Unlike now, where he's more twisted than a basket of snakes.
That's why I took the witness stand during his trial 7 years ago. You have to listen to me. He didn't kill her. His heart's screaming he didn't kill her.
I was a fool.
Can anybody else know what I was talking about?
She heard the voice of his heart.
You were only 11 then, right? You were very brave just to give testimony.
Pearls is right. You did the very best you could at the time.
But nothing I said did any good. I was a shaking and scared little girl, small and ineffectual. Even after I went to live with my relatives in Europe, I stayed closed up in my shell. But you're different now. You're always so bright and cheerful. Thanks. It's because one day, I came to realize I had to fight. I couldn't give up. I exercised hard and studied hard. I wanted to become the strongest lawyer I could be. I wanted to save Simon, but I had no idea how. Then I met Mr. Wright, and thanks to him, I realized that if I became a lawyer, I could prove Simon was innocent. I also realized psychology could help me do this. I mean, psychology was my mother's specialty. When I studied it, I felt like she was there with me, supporting me.
Doesn't seem like Athena knows. Prosecutor Blackwell's due to be executed tomorrow.
I wanted to prove Simon's innocence personally. I wanted to do it so bad. Even now I want to fly out of here and go save him.
Come to think of it, she said something like that during the Academy trial. Mentioned there was somebody else she wanted to save. She must have been talking about Blackwell.
I heard some prison guards say that you had an interview with Simon. How was he? What did he say? No, I can't tell her. How can I lie to Athena?
He was doing well. He was happy about the possibility of being proven innocent.
He was? I wonder if he smiled like he used to, back then.
If I can't prove Prosecutor Blackwell's innocence in his trial, I don't think Athena will ever forgive me.
I just have to free him. Failure is not an option here.
Ooh! I thought you might be here, Mr. Lawyer. We're in trouble.
We are? What is it?
I couldn't find a single open courtroom. They're all in session.
Oh no, but this is an emergency.
It's very difficult to interrupt a trial once it's underway. My phone.
It's from Trucy.
I told you I'd give you 1 hour. I guess it's time to pick one of the hostages.
No, wait, we still have a little more time. Besides, all the courtrooms are being used right now.
Make all the excuses you want, but you won't get more time. Your daughter's first. Poor thing. She's a little too young to die, don't you think?
Don't dare hurt her!
There's gotta be something I can do.
Is injustice about to befall us all?
No, this can't be happening. This is Maya. This.
Wait a minute. Maya.
Blew up. That's it. There is a courtroom we can use.
Okay, time's up. Too bad. Any last words you'd like to say?
Hold it!
Aura, please don't add to the crimes you've already committed.
So you know who I am, do you? Wasn't like I was trying to keep it a secret anyways.
Fun fact, Dark Alien, since I started playing these games, I actually switched my ringtone to the Steel Samurai theme. Hang on. Let me see if I can proc it real quick. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it after this scene. We're ready to start the trial. We can hold it in the ruins of courtroom number 4, the one blown up by the bomber.
What a wonderful idea, Mr. Nick.
I never would have thought of that!
Yeah, Ollie, call me.
An astonishing trial in an astonishing location! I guess it's only befitting. I'll go get the place ready right away!
Didn't exactly pick the place for its astonishing factor. How about it? You ready to have your brother's innocence proven?
My brother. I'm sorry. Did I forget to mention, it's not Simon you'll be defending.
Not. I did that. Thanks, Ollie.
I indict Athena Sykes on the charge of murdering her own mother. You'll be defending the little princess there, the one behind the glass.
What?
See you in that mountain of rubble you've chosen for our courtroom, Mr. Wright. What is she talking about? Athena? Of course. Why didn't it ever occur to me before? Prosecutor Blackwell's innocent. Somebody else had to have been the culprit. Did I kill my own mother? No.
Oh, shit. No way.
Mr. Nick, what's the matter?
Oh, shit. I see 5 black cyclocks. I've seen these kinds of locks before. Dark black locks protecting a secret hidden deep inside a person's heart. And there's no way to remove them. Alright. That said, we are gonna call it for the night. Oh, fuck. Okay. Okay. Here's my stream Twitter. If you want to keep up on my... Oh, yeah, I'm absolutely going to turn about for tomorrow. A lot to unpack on it to be... That's a lot to unpack on it to be continued. Yeah, it is. Holy shit. Was not expecting that. Yeah, there's my Twitter. Follow or bookmark it or whatever. Keep tabs on it if you want to see my immediate docket, if you want to see schedule changes, and if you want to see when I go live. There will be the first place I say so. That's a lot to unpack for it to be continued, but I am going to call it for the night. Definitely coming back to this tomorrow. Holy shit. Okay. Yeah, that's the real shit right there. It just got really real. I will fucking, unless something real serious happens, in which case, obviously, my Twitter is going to be the first place, my stream Twitter is going to be the first place anyone knows. Yeah. I will make every effort I can to come back tomorrow and see this one through, because holy shit. Alright. But until then, thanks for sticking with me, y'all. I'm gonna head out for the night and cope with what I just saw. Night stream.